Hello and welcome to the Yggdrasil podcast. I am your host, Reddit Tosker. Today, I'm very happy to have Rurikhan with us again. Hey, Ruri, how you doing?
I am doing great. I've actually spent the weekend playing some Kill Team with some friends. Then yesterday I finally got back to playing some more Nightreign. Before that, I was playing Overture, which beat me relentlessly. So, the recovery weekend was pretty good.
That's actually another thing we should talk about. I had forgotten about Liza P somewhat. I haven't gotten it yet. I need your thoughts on it because I know you have a storied history with that game.
It's a love-hate relationship, okay, with me and Lies of P.
Let's start with Night Rain, I guess, since that was the most recent from software outing. How did you like it?
I was positively surprised that I liked it as much as I did because when I first saw the trailers and stuff, and you start figuring out what type of game it is, you already know based on your usual gaming habits whether or not it's going to be something that you're going to be sticking with. And so my first thought was like, oh, this will be fun for like a couple of weeks or something, like maybe the first 2 weeks that I play it, I'll have some fun with friends. And boy, was I wrong. Like I am so addicted to that game. I'm actually forcing myself to play with all of the night fares, to get all of the remembrances, to do all of the things.
Hmm.
But the reality is I just want to get all that out of the way so that I can play Guardian 24/7. But I love playing that game. I've been completely addicted. I was in the review period. The review period was hilarious too, because I wasn't able to get together with a lot of people because most of the people playing it were in the US. And I also had like some real life commitments during that review week. And so it was very hard to get together with people. So I did the first boss with randoms. And then I kept trying to go to other bosses, and everybody was still learning and stuff. So multiple failures. People didn't know how to do the events yet when they did pop up. Like, nope, none of us knew. So we're all kind of like figuring it out. And then eventually on the weekend, I get together with Cowboy and just like knock out 4 or 5 Night Lords in one quick mission.
Wow.
It's like crazy. But it was really fun review period. And then I just I reset my save file for when the game came out so that I would show people all the remembrances and stuff. And now I've done most of it. I have the platinum trophy on Steam, but I haven't done all the remembrances. So you don't even have to do all the remembrances to get like platinum. I guess it's fairly easy. I didn't even realize
Hmm.
how easy it was. But it's just a really fun experience because when you're thinking about doing co-op in something like an Elden Ring, there's a huge scheduling issue with that where let's say you and I are going to go and play co-op Elden Ring, right? And at some point you might be like, "Oh, I actually got really into this character that you're working on for our playthrough." And then you play but for yourself for a little bit, and all of a sudden you're like 10, 20 levels
Right.
above me, and then we get together again. And now you're carrying me, and the experience kind of sucks for me because you're way more powerful and you already know what's going to happen and all of these things.
Yep.
And with Night Rain, even if I'm 200 hours in or something and somebody new comes along, I still need to rely on them to contribute for that session. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Like if we all go our separate ways, we're doomed to fail. So I like that. I like I can put in 200 hours and still have fun with somebody that's only put in 5. That is phenomenal. And I really underestimated how hooked I was going to get into it.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic foray into co-op for From Software. I constantly bitch and moan about Elden Ring's co-op and Souls co-op being not living up to their potential. Feeling kind of tacked on, being hard to play with people that you want to play with, and even especially if it's how in Elden Ring you have this big massive open world, but if you're traveling together in the open world, you can't use torrent. You have to find a little mini dungeon that you want to do. Hey, okay, come to this mini dungeon here in your own world, go inside in your own world. And if that other friend that you're playing with isn't super inexperienced and doesn't have that, he's going to have to ride to the place. It's like, oh wait, I don't know exactly where this is. Send me a screenshot of it on the map because I forgot how to get here. Or if you've been playing for like 2 hours and you decide you wanted to go into a place that's not part of the, it's just a big thing. It's just a big thing. I've always felt that it's tacked on. And this is great. Like, this is fantastic. It's exactly what I've been asking for, especially when it comes to making good bosses that are still a challenge for a co-op group to do. Those bosses beat my ass for the
Yeah.
first day, like the first 8 hours or so. I think I managed to play for 10 hours with my group. We were just getting absolutely beat up for a while.
Like for the longest time, because Bandai would do like these surveys in the Discord so that they could help out people that were struggling. Because obviously there's going to be players of all different skill levels within the review period, right? And up until like the very end of the review period, there were still people that were stuck on the very first boss.
Hmm.
And the worst part is you can't even see the other bosses until you beat the first one. But like, shout out to Bandai Namco because they actually had a lot of their own people volunteer time. Like this wasn't something that they were paid to do. They're just like volunteering their time to go and help people throughout the first boss and other bosses so that they could see more of the game. Like they were actually super cool.
That's nice. I most of the people in my Discord were playing it. I think a lot still are playing it, but they were playing it really hard on release where we had to like make Nightreign channels for it.
Yep.
And what I noticed coming back and like, I'd play all day, I'd stream all day, and then I'd come back in and be like, how's everything going for everybody else? Oh, like most of them are still on the first boss, or I've just barely beaten the first boss. This group has been 7 hours into it. They haven't reached a Night Lord. I was like, oh my God, it's crazy.
But it's more of I feel like it's more of a knowledge thing
Yes.
because what ends up happening with a lot of new groups is they just end up making bad decisions. And by the way, this isn't a criticism because like we made a lot of us during the review period made those bad decisions as well. Like, oh yeah, Gargoyle, I'm level 5. Sure. Yeah, surely there's no problem here. I mean, it's right there, right next to this other low level thing. Surely this is fine. It's never fine.
It's not
Gargoyle
fine.
is never fine. It's like, unless you're 11, 12, don't even think about going anywhere near the Gargoyle because it will just wreck your day. Or the Death Bird. That, like, there are some bosses that you instantly start recognizing. Chief among them, the one that I've come to call the ball busting hunter. They call him ball bearing, but that's not bell bearing
Yep.
hunter. But no, he's the ball busting hunter. Yeah, he's Bob. Bob will mess you up, dude.
I've had situations where people are like, "Oh, let's go underneath the castle." We go underneath the castle. You see his red eye underneath. Let's not go underneath the castle, and we walk the fuck out. We're not ready.
Exactly.
We can deal with anything else that spawns down there. But it's funny because like, there's no bells to get anymore. He's doing it for the love of the game now. Why are you here? Go away.
He's just enjoying himself. He's enjoying retirement. His retirement plan was to go to Limveld and just beat on other people randomly. That was his retirement plan.
My favorite thing with him, I have a friend that plays Wilder a lot, and so like he's like, "No, I'm the main character. I'm the aura farmer. I'm gonna go in there," and he does these ultimate right in his face. Doesn't stagger him. Hyper armors through it.
Doesn't stagger at all.
Just
Yeah.
slams him with a shield through the explosion. It was like a scene from a movie. It was so wonderful.
Yeah, I've had multiple characters. I think like I've tried Raider pounding him with the thing does nothing. I've had like there are some weapons that will have like some crazy art or something that's meant to stagger nothing. You go in there with an Iron Eye, ult him, nothing. He just like keeps going. He's the biggest poise boy in the whole damn game. He doesn't care. Nothing stops him. It's so good.
Which one's your favorite boss out of all the bosses that we had?
Out of all, I mean, are you talking about Night Lords or
Yeah.
just like regular bosses? Okay. So, Night Lords, I've been asked that question multiple times, and I think probably the one that I find most interesting is the Sentient Pest
Ooh.
because it's two monsters and then they kind of do like the whole combination thing. And I think that's kind of cool. But I never really think too much about like a favorite one. So it's just like usually when people ask me, I'm like, I like that one. It reminds me of Celtis Queen, and that's cool.
Yeah.
So I like that one.
I had the same feeling, and it's such a nice fight. It's a very cinematic fight with one of them being on the ground, the other one being in the air, and you can use like the body of the scorpion to block the shots of the other thing if it's targeting you and it takes a little bit of damage. It's nice. I like the gimmicks of the boss fights. Good music too. They all have really nice music.
Oh, yeah, the music is phenomenal. The art for the whole thing is awesome. It really bothers me that a significant portion of the player base is upset over the fact that there's a multiplayer from software game and they're just calling it slop. And it's like, bro, most of these fights have been intensely reworked. Like, have you fought the Centipede Demon? Guess what? Doesn't play anything like the Centipede Demon in Dark Souls at all. But yeah.
In my streaming channel, the slop word got so common that I like banned the word slop from being, because it was just from slop, roll slop, parry slop. It was like just
Yeah.
it's not even just criticisms to From Software. It was on anything that they it's not to their interest was slop. But when we were watching the Summer Game Fest, I don't mean to like jump right to the Summer Game Fest thing, but it's just a funny thing.
Yeah,
I kind
a little
didn't I was not having fun in the Summer Game Fest. There was a lot of stuff I didn't like and not interesting to me. And so there was a couple of minor things, but they were small highlights in a sea of kind of uninteresting. And so people were obviously using the word slop. There's a lot of people in the chat in those events. And
yeah.
at first I'm annoyed, but as the show proceeds and I just keep seeing it because I'm just ignoring it, I start to think it's kind of funny and I lean into it and I just start calling everything slop too, just as a joke. I was like, okay, we'll just lean into it this one time. That was a mistake because it's hilarious. It was so funny. I was having so much fun during the Summer Game Fest because of that. Somebody saw a cyberpunk looking game and called it Cyber Slop 2007, and I fucking lost it on camera. I couldn't believe
Cyber slop. Oh my god.
I've been dealing with the
I could see it.
repercussions of it, like on my regular streaming channel. I'm trying to go back to business as usual, and it is not working. I just keep getting slop comments.
Rataslop. That's what you're getting
Yeah,
now. All the friggin' time.
yeah.
The Rataslop streams.
But back to Nightreign. Caligos my
Yeah.
favorite. Absolute peak boss. The dragon, the ice dragon, because
I know which one is Caligos. Yeah.
you go in and he's got like, he's in the mist and he's got his wings and it looks like how the wings look to the ancient dragons in Dark Souls 1. So I'm like, oh, what is that? Is that an ancient dragon from Dark Souls 1? And then the music is gorgeous and he does all kinds of neat attacks. I've noticed a lot of Monster Hunter like elements on some of these bosses. Like you mentioned the sentient pest doing the Sultus Queen thing. Caligo does that thing where he'll like have crystals explode after a certain period of time on the ground. He has that thing where there's pillars of ice and you have to hide behind them so as to avoid the big
You
ice
have to line aside it. Yeah.
Yeah. Or he'll go into the fog and he's building the giant ice tree and you're looking up like William Dafoe as it's smashing down on you, but you have to... It's so good. It's such a cinematic fight. I think it might be my favorite dragon. Better than Midir, maybe better than Bale if you take Egon out.
When you say better than Midir, you're not setting the bar very high, considering that Midir is actual slop.
Actual
That is
mid.
actual.
Oh my goodness. I had forgotten
I
about your
hate
mid dish.
Midir. I, I hate him. I
Rurikhan's
think
like
he's
more
so
like
boring.
mid ear.
Not even mid. It's like low deer or something like that. Not even mid. It's bad. I don't like him, and I know that a lot of people love him. That's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
Is whatever. I don't like him.
We've had to agree on to disagree on this one too many times. We're
Yeah.
not going into it.
But Caligos with his donut mechanic is pretty fun because the first time that I did Caligos, it was Cowboy, and I forget if the other person there was Tragic or if it was somebody else. But we were doing it, and they're both like running around, and I'm just like I'm running in one direction. I just picked a random direction and decided to run. So I'm just like running, booking it completely, not even thinking about where I'm going. And they're like running around trying to figure out what to do. And then eventually the mist fades away and they're like right in the middle, not in the middle safe portion of the donut. They're like right in the middle of the thing crashing down on them. And I'm just like super far away. And I was like, I've made the right decision as they get hit by the falling debris. But it doesn't really kill you, so it was fine. But I just thought that was funny. I have tons of memories from so many of these bosses. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. The another highlight I thought was Libra. Such a good fight because he doesn't have ads. I was expecting that a lot when I was looking at the trailers and looking at the beta test. I was expecting a lot of these bosses to rely on ads and not really be able to deal with multiple people because that's something that FromSoftware has struggled with before. But or even using Cerberus's thing to turn into three different things to target each person.
Yeah.
But I was like, how are they going to make a boss that's just one boss and it can effectively deal with three guys? And Libra was the
He's
answer.
just gonna cast. He's just gonna cast a lot of things.
He's just he's gonna go for you. And if you make him mad, he's just like, I think he's scarier in his madness phase. I know you're supposed to break it and make him go madness, but he's just relentless. Just does the goat attack over and over 12 times in a row. It's so scary.
Seen that attack glitch on somebody, like they posted a clip and he's just like going nonstop, so the clip goes on for like 2 minutes or something. Oof. And it's just Libra jumping after him like bam 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 and dude's not even dodging, he's just like strafing slightly to the left and Libra is missing, but he keeps going for it nonstop. It's so scary. But I mean, the thing about Libra is just even yesterday I wiped to Libra because we didn't have like an excellent, I mean, our composition was probably still fine to kill Libra, but I was playing Executor for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, I thought I would be able to break him out of it by going into my ult and just spamming R1. Turns out that wasn't the case. So I wasn't able to break him out of it, so that we failed. And then our Wilder had to use the ultimate to resurrect somebody because they were at 2 pips. And we just basically never had something to deal with the bubble phase.
Yep.
And that thing was terrible. We just kept dying and dying and dying. And then eventually it ended us. But yeah, Libra is a scary one. He's still like challenging. Even now that I know what he does, it's still challenging to go in there and doing it, especially if you're not playing a character that you're particularly comfortable with.
Is Guardian your favorite?
Absolutely, and it's not even close. The funny thing about Guardian, by the way, since we're talking about Libra, I had this moment, which I think it might have been the first time that I did Libra with Cowboy. And then Cowboy goes, oh, listen, when he does this, you're going to do your ultimate because Raider's ultimate breaks it and Iron Eye's ultimate breaks it. And so he just assumed that the Guardian ultimate, since it deals damage, should also break it. And I'm like, all right, I got this. No problem. When he goes into his little meditative pose, I'll do it. No issue. He goes into his meditative pose and I'm like, here we go. And I jump into the air and I fall like dead on. Like I hit him dead on. Nothing. He's just chilling. And Cowboy goes like, oh no. It's so funny.
I have heard some people say they don't like the Guardian, like he's the least fun of the classes, which is what they used to say for Gunlance, I guess. So
the thing about Guardian, and this is something that Cowboy and me even said on the Nightreign podcast that I did with him, is that if you compare him to something like a Raider can do almost everything that the Guardian does, but he does it better because, the Guardian is good at defending things. Raider will just kill things and buff people while he's doing it. So it's like, wouldn't you rather just kill things faster? So for all intents and purposes, in the current version of the game, I almost feel like Raider is just better at everything except some very niche scenarios. But playing Guardian is also something that is going to require to get some relics that will actually let you do stuff a little bit better.
Maybe the guard counter relics and guard counter
the
skills.
The counter relic, not even guard counter skills, but like the counter relic that whenever you're in your ability stance, it will reflect damage back. Like I think that is a huge one. But like I'll tell you a Guardian. Like if you've seen, I don't know if you've seen the Twitter post that I posted at one point, which was like the coolest moment I've ever had in the game. But we're in the final boss and it's me and 2 friends of mine. It was Dark Hero. You know Dark Hero, right? So it was me, Dark Hero, and Watanagashi, who's a friend of mine that usually plays these games with me. And so we're all in the final boss and one of them had already died like twice, I think. So if he would die again, he would go into 3 pips. And the other one had already died once, and then he would go into 2 pips. And so we're going in, and I think the boss is somewhere in the 40% range or something like that. And both of them die, like in a very short time span. So as Guardian, you're not going to have that much damage to resurrect them fast. My ultimate was like at 30% or something along those lines. And so I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, guys, listen, I just need you guys to wait. Just need you guys to wait for a little bit. They died relatively closer together, so it was fine. So I was like, I just need you to wait. And I just sit there and block for like a straight minute and some change. And because I'm dealing damage to him with the relic that whenever I block I deal damage, I'm also powering up my ultimate. I don't know if regular blocking and taking damage powers up your ultimate as well or not, but because I was dealing damage back to the boss, very little amounts of damage, but damage still, I was able to like getting my ultimate. And the thing is, I had no heals. So if I had made the wrong move at any point during that, the run was over. The boss swaps into poison phase.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at 40% health. He poisons me. And we're all just like looking at that and it's like, okay, ultimate's charged. I run up to them, I do the ultimate, and now because I also have the thing that changes your ultimates that it makes it heal everyone because nobody had heals at that point.
So strong. That one's so strong. I love that effect.
So I res them, they're invincible, and they're getting healed to full while I'm holding the ultimate, and we just like all rally and kill the boss. And that's like the most epic thing that you can do as a guardian. That's a situation where I kind of feel like Raider would have probably died because Raider's not going to sit there by himself for like a full minute and change, just like exchanging with the boss, right? So you know, those are the moments where a guardian will shine. But other than that, for a majority of situations, Raider is going to take the cake because whenever he does his ultimate, not only it's massive stagger, but everyone around a pillar gains like bonus damage. So it's like, I mean, it's a no-brainer. And Iron Eyes can jump on top of the pillar and shoot from the safety of the pillar. It's just like massive advantage. But I still like Guardian because Guardian's so much fun. And he gets the best transmog in the whole game, so you know.
I'm gonna try him out. I played with him once, and he seemed to do much less damage than the other classes.
He does.
So I like shifted away from him because I had a bunch of other ones to do. But I'm gonna play with them all more than I have. You might not be surprised that my favorite is the Executor. I am
Yeah, I've seen you play Executor, yeah.
very happy with how the Executor works. I've
always known you were more of a dog person than a cat person.
Not the furry jokes, no. I swear to God, all I see on the internet is the, you know, those furry jokes where like the werewolf is like ripping off his shirts, and like any time that the Executor does his ultimate, it's that fucking thing pops up on the meme. It's just like, oh no, it's over. I saw one where it's like a buff werewolf guy is like picking up a werewolf girl, and he's like, how it feels when you revive your teammates as an Executor. It's like, God damn it, no.
I'm not even making a furry joke. I'm just saying that you like dogs more than you like cats.
I do like dogs more than I like cats.
Yeah, see, that's base, dude. Everybody in the internet's always like, oh no, cats are the best. No, dogs are the best. Shut up.
Dogs actually like you. Cats would just tolerate you.
They're pretending. They're fake.
Yep.
100%.
Yep.
Can't trust them.
They just want that food.
Exactly. No, but I've been trying. Executor, first time I played him was yesterday because I was doing his remembrance, and I'm not the biggest fan. Especially like your first couple of matches with Executor feels pretty miserable because you're trying to figure out. I thought that you were just supposed to be in the, whenever you're fighting, just be in the stance. And then people in chat were saying, no, you're losing out on tons of damage because you get the cursed weapon, and the cursed weapon is just for parrying. And I was like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. But then you start, then people also told me, oh, but the animation where you're unsheathing the cursed sword, that's also a parry. And then I was like, oh, okay, that's when stuff started clicking because you parry the first and then you're ready to parry the rest of it with, you know, the mechanic. I still kind of suck at parrying, but every now and then I'd pull off a couple of cool moments. Like there was a time where we went under the castle at level 11 to fight Bob.
Mm-hmm.
I parried the crap out of him. I was like, come on, come fight me. And he would be like running after everybody else. No, me, come back. Come
Yep.
here.
Yep.
Fight me. And then he just ignores you. That's the worst about that stuff, though. But yeah.
I love the deflect, and I love trying to get good at it. It really is effective against. Yeah, honestly, it's easier to play him solo because now no one else is just stealing your aggro, and you can parry all you want and switch back and forth comfortably. And he's very good with the deflect against Crucible Knights or Elmer of the Briar or anything that's like sword and board and just hits you in a lot of times in a short duration. But he's not. It's not super great, and you wouldn't be. If you just ignored the sword, you wouldn't be missing out on a lot of damage on the bigger bosses like the Baron poison boss. I forget his name. Or anything large that just does a few swings and then stops for a bit. You're better off just doing, because this cursed sword doesn't do a status ailment, doesn't bleed, it doesn't poison, doesn't adopt the element of the thing that you're using. It does less damage overall. It's just it's cool, but it's not your best damage.
I was parrying Caligos' Frozen Mist yesterday.
Oh my god, it feels so great when you parry a nuke or something that's obviously should be unparryable. You know that meme, parry this, you filthy casual? Yeah, I can. I will.
It was funny, people saying, yeah, just casually parry the temperature. And I was like, yes, exactly. I will parry cold weather. Why not?
Now, let me ask you this. Do you think that we're getting a Sekiro deflecting game from FromSoftware based on the executors deflecting and the deflecting tier that they put in the DLC? That's 2 times that we got.
What? Like, wait, I'm confused.
Basically, what I'm saying is that I think that they're experimenting with their deflects again because they put the deflecting tier in Shadow of the Erdtree and they put the deflect mechanic in the Executor because there's going to be either a Sekiro 2 or some new game that makes use of deflect that they're working on and they're practicing.
I think you're reading way too much into it. I think that somebody over there was just going like, hey man, wasn't the Sekiro parry cool? Yeah, let's bring that to Elden Ring. Let's go. And that was it.
I think I'm just going to have to choose to deflect that comment and keep the cope alive.
I think that it makes more sense for their, like, that was a rumor. I don't know where the situation is with that rumor now, but there was that rumor that the next FromSoftware game was going to be like some spell casting game. I think that makes way more sense with the experiments that they were doing with Recluse. I don't know if you've played Recluse yet.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, so I think that is a theory that, and that is actually something that is more interesting to me because the Recluse is one of those situations that, and by the way, I don't like playing Recluse. Like, it was a miserable experience from playing Recluse because I suck at it. I'm bad at spell casting, right? But one of the things that I liked is that Recluse can basically cast spells forever.
Yeah.
Yep. Which is one of the things that always bothered me about spells and FromSoftware games. It's like, it's limited, okay? It's going to get to a point where you're screwed or you're chugging down consumables nonstop to be able to keep, feeding your spell casting frenzy. But the way that they did it with Recluse actually makes a lot of sense. And it's a mechanic wherein you don't just free cast, but you engage with a system where you can like get mana back and you can life steal and you can do all these crazy things. I think that makes more sense. They're experimenting for whatever spellcasting game, unless that rumor has already been disproven, which I don't know, because nowadays the way that the industry is going, trying to keep track of rumors of what FromSoftware is doing is very, very hard.
I have bad news for you. That rumor was reported on by Ziostorm. He was the guy that was pushing the Spellbound thing. He got fooled. He admitted, okay, yeah, it's not true. But I agree with you though. Right. I agree with you though that that'd be great. So here's my thing with Nightreign. I think that they're all the way that they handled the character movements and all of them, in a lot of ways, are either straight upgrades or really cool experiments that they can adapt to their new stuff. So again, I do think that the Sekiro Deflect is a part of that. Maybe it's not the most likely thing to come out next, but basically I've always been advocating for the next Sekiro-like, and it doesn't necessarily have to do with deflecting or katanas or even be Sekiro 2. I want a Sekiro that's like Magic. I want Magic Sekiro, where it's okay. Now you're this character, and we've made a system with just magic, and you go through the game, and it's not like a Souls game. We really honed down and focused down onto it, and made a not open world, not you have all these build options. You were really making you go into a specific build option so that you can get the most out of it. So either Magic Sekiro, Faith Sekiro, Strength Sekiro. This is something Saint Riot always talked about. He wants like something similar to Dragon's Dogma's shoulder charge with the great swords, where you're not really trying to avoid damage. You're mitigating it as you're going to do he wants to play Guts, basically. He just wants to be Guts.
Yeah.
So that's what I want. And I think that they're okay. Like the bows, straight up better, like straight upgrade to how they worked in Elden Ring. Like it's not even just an adaptation of an existing system. I don't think we should ever go back in the next Souls game. We should not go back to how bows used to work. We should stick with this.
Like how fun is it for you to be like, oh, I want to use this bow. Okay, make sure that you stock up on arrows. And then it's like, oh, okay, I got to always keep in my mind this resource that is virtually worthless because, arrows are cheap like regular arrows. The other special arrows, those are kind of more expensive. But even that, just the tediousness of having to manage all of that, that's not like friction. It's just something that you have to keep in the back of your mind. Oh, right, I need to save like some 10,000 souls or something to go buy arrows. I never thought that was particularly interesting. So just them removing arrows, I'm like, that's good. You just shoot your bow. Like, that's it. You don't have to worry too much about ammunition. Maybe you can have like a quiver as an equipment piece so that you gain like, bonuses like maybe, oh, this quiver, you can shoot 3 arrows and then you have to wait a little bit before you can shoot the next one or something like that. And then you can add additional mechanics that way that will make it more interesting to play the bow. Like you can add limitations that and friction to the gameplay that doesn't necessarily just involve tedious item management. Like imagine that you go in Dark Souls 1, because I think I've done like a full bow playthrough in the original Dark Souls. And it was fun, but it wasn't like fantastic because there's not a whole lot of mechanics to really engage with the bow. It's meant to be a weapon that you pull out on occasion to like shoot something and then be done with it.
Yeah.
But playing it as Iron Eye is fantastic. And like you said, it's a straight up improvement. Having the deflect mechanic on Executor is also a fantastic thing because you get the standard moveset. And then if you want to go into Sekiro mode, you can swap into that. Another thing, since you only played a little bit of Guardian, I don't know how much you interacted with his ability, but the reason why Guardian to me feels so good is because it's not gimped blocking. Because that's what you get in most games that have a shield is you get the gimped block. In this game, it's like, no, you pull out his friggin', ability mode and you are shielding everything. But there's a penalty because you can't easily get out of that block. And while you're in that block mode, you're moving very slowly. So you have to use it tactically. You can't just be like, oh, I'm going to just sit here and block everything. And they can still break through your stamina gauge. It doesn't make you completely invulnerable to everything, but it's no longer something where, oh, I need to use this specific shield. Otherwise it sucks. It's more like I need to make sure that I use this stance at the appropriate times. And I was like, yes, this is good. This feels good to block like this.
Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree. I haven't messed with it. I have used the shield, but I'm just happy that their experiments have been so successful. The Duchess, I forgot to mention the Duchess. Her dodges, her Bloodborne dodges is great. Her dagger, unique dagger moveset. I don't want to see the regular dagger moveset again. I never want to see that regular dagger moveset in a FromSoft game again. Only the Duchess one-handed dagger moveset, please, for me. And her Bloodborne dodges, her dodging in place. I've always been really interested in different ways of mitigating damage or dealing with how an enemy attacks you. And when you have it deflect, it lets you stay in the same position. So if you wanted to stay in the same position, you didn't want to dodge out of the way because you think being where you're at is important or advantageous. The Duchess has that little backstep that lets her not move, but still has iframes and dodges the attack. That's sick. What if we have another Dex Sekiro, but it's not katanas and samurai? It's like a thief, and a really dodgy character. I would love anything like that they get to adapt in going into the future is ideal for me.
I think that the ideal game, which is, I think that this is also what the community would appreciate most, is like an amalgamation of all of these that would allow for multiple different playstyles. Because people have shown that when you get Sekiro, a lot of us did enjoy it, but a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to play parry. It's like, well, that's too bad
Yeah.
because I guess you're not playing then because you have to play parry. So it's good if people just get the option. I want to play more dodge centric. So maybe they play the character that's kind of like Duchess. I want to rely more on spells. So they can play a character that's kind of more like Recluse. I want to rely on summons, which is something that we haven't even talked about. The Revenant.
Yeah.
The Revenant summons. Those are also a ton of fun, especially because you can like combo. I think his name is Sebastian. You can just pull out Sebastian, do your ultimate. Sebastian lasers the boss if he manages to hit it, because sometimes Sebastian just decides, you know what? This little minion right here, he's had it coming for a while. The one that's like 180 degrees away from the boss, this is the one that I got a laser right here, and then he just lasers a random minion.
No, I agree. I think that whatever Souls type title that they make going forward should make use of these things. But I also I don't agree that we should. Okay, so like Bloodborne. Bloodborne takes away your shield. In fact, they give you a little shield on release, and it was like the wooden shield, and it kind of makes fun of you for trying to use it. It has little blurbs. It's like it's not going to work. Like these beasts are too.
It was targeted right at me. You know that, right?
Yep. It felt a deep.
Miyazaki is just like that Portuguese guy with the hat. That's the one.
Enough.
He's gonna get it.
Yeah. So the but it, even though they took stuff away. And they also incentivized certain playstyles, aggressive playstyles with the, the parries that are easier to do because it's a fucking shotgun that you're using to parry someone. And now in the rally where you get health back by being aggressive after taking damage. So instead of like backing away and shrinking away like we do in Souls games, you're actually attack, get that health back. So that is a playstyle and a that was born out of their incentive structure by taking stuff away from you and giving stuff to you. And it wouldn't exist if they just let us do what they wanted. And you could have like a really tanky build, which, and I think Sekiro is just a more extreme version of that. We're taking even more away from you. You're not your character that you build. You don't set your levels. You're playing this guy. And it would be a shame, I think, if they don't do other things like that. I'm perfectly fine with them. Like, this is why we have these experiments, so they can be well suited to do multiple things going forward. But among those multiple things, I think they also should just make games where they take away your options. You're like, no, you're not that guy. You're playing this. Or you're an armored core. If you don't like armored cores, you don't like mechs, too bad. Maybe try liking them.
You're saying Sekiro over Elden Ring.
No. I'm not saying I like Sekiro more than Elden Ring. I definitely like Elden Ring more than Sekiro. But I also don't want them to stop making Sekiros.
Yeah. I get it.
Forever.
I got you. I think that one of the interesting things that this game provides is really just like experimentation. And another really cool thing is the fact that they're not charging you full price, because they're like, no, this is just an experimental title. We're reusing a lot of assets. We're doing a lot of, trying to make the best out of all of these things that we've created for Elden Ring and some of our previous titles. And here's like this interesting little experiment. And to me, I was like, I don't even know how many hours I have on it right now. Let me actually check real quick. But I think I'm like at I'm at 98 hours at
That's
this
crazy.
point. It's like I'm already coming up on 100 hours of this game, and the only reason I haven't played more is because I've been playing Lies of P recently. But yeah, it's like it's a phenomenal game for what you're paying for it and for what you are getting, the experience you're getting. I would also say I think that they've made a mistake, even including a single player version. And I know that a lot of people are going to hate me for it.
Okay.
I don't think they should have put a single player mode. I understand a lot of people wouldn't be able to enjoy the game and all of that stuff. I think that the single player mode is something that they should put in like 1 year down the line or something, because we are going to get a point with this game, taking into account that they're not making it a live service. They're saying like, eventually we're going to move on from this project and it's going to exist as it is. I think at that point, you're going to go like, okay, because the player base is smaller now and all of that stuff. We're going to make it so that you can play this by yourself. Sure. And we're going to add duos and all of that stuff. But I think that doing so as early as they did, not only diminish, I mean, for starters, the changes that they've done, because the game already supported single player, and them changing stuff for single player diminishes the accomplishments of people that were already doing it solo, because now it's much easier. Like the day that they've added those changes, I didn't know that the changes were already in. It was like a Monday morning and the servers were down, so I couldn't play with two other people. So I go in and I get literally my first solo clear of Tricephalos, and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized, oh yeah, they've added stuff, because I resurrected myself during parts of that. Okay, so they already added this stuff. So that took away from players, but they shouldn't have even done it for single player to begin with, because the game is just flat out better when you're playing with other people. And I know that people are going to say, but randoms are terrible. Is like, listen,
Let them be terrible.
I've played with a bunch of randoms. I've played with a bunch of randoms, and so far I've had one bad experience. And it was because people decided they needed to kill the gargoyle at level 8, and I kept pinging, no, bad idea. And they just kept going back and dying. It was I was like, no, guys, let's go down to lava instead and get a legend. I mean, I wasn't saying this because you can't communicate with them, right? Which is something that they should add, some form of communication that would be good. But it's like I was trying to convince them to go deeper into the lava section to go get a legendary weapon, and they're like, no, we gotta kill this gargoyle, as they're just like going in there, getting one shot, going back in there, getting one shot again. It's like, have I ever told you the definition of insanity? It's what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
It's like I had one bad experience with randoms so far. I mean, that's not saying that we've succeeded every time with randoms. Sure, we've made mistakes. I've made bad calls. I've made calls that got people killed, even when I'm playing with friends. Just yesterday, I made a call that didn't get us killed, but it was pretty close, because I was like, guys, trust. Get on this bird that's going to go into the blue, drop us on top of a church, and we're going to get that church and then kill a small boss next to it in the blue, and then still run out because we're close enough to the thing. And we pulled it off.
That's
but
great.
it's like, sometimes you do those and you die, but that's part of the experience. You're not meant to succeed every time. And if you were able to succeed in Nightreign every single time, like let's say it's your first time playing, you're queuing against Tricephalos with a group of randoms, you're going in there and you guys just killed it. You murdered everything, no challenge whatsoever, just destroy the boss. And you're like, is that really going to be memorable? You didn't even struggle. You just got in with two random people. Neither of you knew what you were doing, and you killed the boss. That's not fun.
Not only is it
I
less,
don't think that's fun.
Not only is it less memorable, it's also going to get you through the content very quickly, because the game's not really as replayable as I thought it was going to be. On like, there's not that much content on it, and if you're a lot of my early game, like the first, let's say 20 hours, was just getting good enough to beat the things reliably. Like it was a slow progress getting through all 8 Night Lords. And it's like the design decisions back during the the Super Nintendo, where the games were short, but they were much harder. And so the game wasn't short, it was long, because it's hard. So you have to try over and over to do it. And that process is part of the experience. Like the game's not short just because if you succeed, you can get through all the Night Lords fast. You're not going to succeed, at least not at first. You have to learn how the game works. You have to understand, you have to go through many failure runs before you figure out, okay, this is how we should do it. We need to snowball our way to success. We take out the weak things and the medium things and the strong things, and we want to be killing as fast as possible to get as much stuff so that we're ready for the final day. And even then, the boss is still going to be hard, because the bosses are just hard. The Night Lords are just hard. So yeah, there's that. My thing with the solo stuff is that I feel like the solo is easier than the co-op now. I didn't play it before the updates. I didn't play solo before the updates.
Yeah,
but
it used to be almost impossible.
Yeah,
pretty much. Like you needed to be on the level of like Lobos, because I think during the review period, Lobos and Dist and I think like one or two more guys were the ones that were going in solo, and they were talking in Discord how about, oh yeah, I killed this boss solo and I did this, and we were all like, yeah, y'all are crazy. Like nobody doing this crap solo. But yeah, I tried going solo, but I was also trying to go solo with Guardian, which is just straight up not a very solo friendly class to begin with, because you just don't deal that much damage. You need to kill
Right.
stuff fast to be able to be going through it solo, right? I think Wilder probably one of the better ones. Wilder and Iron Eye are the ones that come to mind as probably being some of the best ones. Raider as well. Those are probably the well solo, but ultimately right now, after you getting those reses, yeah, I do think that in some situations solo might be easier, especially because you get more runes now as well, right?
Yeah, you do. It's rare for me not to get to like 14 or 15 playing solo.
So so it's actually like playing with more players is actually harder now.
Yeah, and that's the opposite of okay. So I admit I haven't tried some of the harder characters to solo with. I don't know what it's like with the recluse, and I assume it's got to be like way harder.
Oh God, it's miserable.
But with executor, which is the one that I usually use on solo, it's pretty breezy. Like it's way easier than having to deal with other players, and I feel like it's very contrary to the design of the game. The game is their co-op game. The whole reason that I was interested in it was like, okay, finally they're going to do something. They're going to build from the ground up bosses that you fight in co-op. Perfect, great. If the game is easier with less people, then you're not. Then other people are a burden. You've created a situation where other people are a burden to success, and you're just doing it just because to have fun, not because it's because you need them. I want to feel like I need my co-op partners. I want to feel like we're working together towards a common goal, and that without them, I'm just probably not going to succeed. It's just not going to work. Whereas now, with the way things work, if I want to get a remembrance, and I'm playing with a group, now they're stopping me from getting the remembrance. If I fail that run, I will think to myself in the back of my head, I probably could have gotten that by myself if I was by myself, which is not an attitude I would want them to engender in the game. So I agree with you.
I just avoid playing by myself, so I don't even have to think about it. I'm
Yep.
just like, nope. It's co-op game. I want to play with two other people, and that's the other thing. I think that three people is the right amount of chaos and balance. Like, I don't even think that they should be thinking about duos at this stage. Again, I think that duos should be something that they think about later down the line when the popularity wanes down. I think that is when duos should come into play. But I know that a lot of people are going to disagree with that, and that's fine because, to each their own and all of that stuff. And I also think that they've compounded this problem in a way because they didn't do crossplay, which is just one of the most ridiculous decisions. Like, why would you not do crossplay? That's ridiculous.
I have to assume at this point, because they keep not doing it, is because they just don't have the technical know-how. I just don't think they can do it easily. Like I feel like it would take a lot of resources from them because they just suck at it. At least now, maybe they'll invest into that for the future.
They definitely should, because for a game like this, crossplay was going to ensure that it would live far longer than it is going to live like this. Like, I would imagine in a couple of months, the popularity of this will be severely waning down. Even though I was checking a little bit earlier today and it was still at like 82,000 concurrent players, which is
Strong
the
numbers.
beginning of the afternoon for me right now. And it's like early morning for you in the US. 82,000 players
Yeah.
for this experimental title. That's pretty friggin' good. And this is just Steam numbers, not even counting how many people are playing like on PlayStation. Though I imagine that the Xbox player pool is probably going to be quite small, which sucks.
Like it's kind of insane numbers when you think about it, because like popular live service games that try and keep their player retention, like I'm talking about like Helldivers 2, don't have anywhere near those numbers. They did on release, admittedly, but like
Yeah.
even when they had their big Super Earth Defense event, which was very recent, around the same time as Nightreign, it was not like this. Like you weren't hitting these Nightreign numbers. I'm so happy that they're not doing a live service, and that they're FromSoftware, because it's easy money for them to sell cosmetics. If they wanted to sell
Oh, yeah.
cosmetics, they could just make infinite money right away.
Yeah, I actually really like that we still have some games that will let you just acquire cosmetics by playing the video game. This one being one of them, Lies of P still maintains that as well with the new DLC and all of that. So
Hmm.
I'm happy that at least some people are showing us the way. Stellar Blade is another one you can unlock, outfits in Stellar Blade. So yeah, that's good.
What did you think of the story, or how they tell the story?
So the story of Nightreign, it's like because it's more about each of the character stories and whether or not you enjoy those individual stories. Because the overarching story, I haven't really looked into it. I need the Vati video to really get super deep into it. But like the little story, considering that Guardian is my favorite one, the story of Guardian, I actually kind of liked. There, I don't want to spoil it because you haven't
I haven't seen
experienced
it
it, and
yet.
there might be people that haven't seen it yet. But it's cool because it involves, and I think this is something that is with all of the Nightfarers. Like all of the stories of all these Nightfarers somehow connect back in on themselves. Well, maybe not all of them, but a lot of them do connect back in on the Nightfarers themselves, and I like that because the story of Guardian is a little bit of a tragic one. You learn about his wing, and that's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
So it was interesting.
I think I really like it. I really like the way that they're telling the stories. It's slightly more personal because they are supposed to be like real characters. They're not just blank slates like in Elden Ring or any of the
Yeah.
other games. And so it's slightly more personal than that and kind of explicit. There's not much. There's not a huge amount of mystery behind their personal stories. Have you done Wilders and Duchesses?
Wilders, I haven't. I've done Duchess, but I don't remember all of it, to be quite frank.
Okay,
My
Wilders.
memory is terrible.
Wilders was really interesting. I really liked his thing and his personal.
But those two intertwine, I remember, because during the
Yes,
Duchess one, she kept a lot of it was going back to Wilder and figuring out what was going on with Wilder.
I wouldn't be opposed. You know, the main thing that I took from it was like I thought that this was going to be like straight up not canon to Elden Ring and not connected to the real
Oh, but
game.
it is.
It is like it's really canon to Elden Ring and it has implications for a lot of things in that game. So I like the story. The only thing is I'm feeling a lot of burnout for the gameplay. So I'm having I made the mistake of playing too much Executor when I should have been collecting remembrances. And so I'm at the point where I've started to get bored of the game and don't want to play it. So now I don't have the energy, I don't have the stamina to like play the other characters. Now that I should have done it, I should have switched around. That's my only
Yeah, see,
concern.
that's the thing. Like I played a ton of Guardian and then I was like, okay, I want to keep playing more Guardian, but it's time to go eat my vegetables, so I'm gonna go play Recluse now.
Yep.
And yeah, that was like some cabbage heads that I had to eat while I was playing that because one of her remembrances is just kill the final boss.
Yep.
And it's like I don't like playing casters. The mechanics of this caster are kind of random because of how the element that people are dealing damage on all, and I'm going to have to play this somewhat efficiently to be able to kill this boss.
Right.
And the worst part is I kept going like, okay, guys, listen, we need a frontliner, we need this, we need that, and eventually when I got the kill, this is the most hilarious thing. It was literally two recluses and an iron eye.
Just
It was the
trading
most
aggro.
random. We were just like overwhelming the boss with damage. Like we got good drops and we just like nuked him from orbit and he was gone. And I was like, wow, interesting. Here I was all concerned about the team composition. And then we go in there with two recluses and an iron eye and we butcher this thing. All right. Seems fair.
Have you noticed that the aggro seems to go for the ranged characters? Is that your experience? Because my experience has been whoever's doing ranged damage, the boss does not like that. He's like, who's pelting me, and just ignores all the. I want to get my parries. Let me get my deflects out on you, and he's just
I've
running off.
I've noticed that the relic that says you draw aggro when blocking either doesn't work at all,
Or
or
not
if it
enough.
does work, I can't tell the difference.
Mm.
So that was one of the most frustrating because I'd be always like, I'd put up my shield and I'm like, okay, guys, I got this, and then nothing. They need to change something about Guardian, for instance, where when I do my whirlwind thing, I should get aggro. Like, just give me aggro. And then if I have the shield up, just try to maintain that aggro. I'm not saying like the boss needs to be on me 24/7. It needs to be able to switch targets, but it needs to spend like, let's say, 60% of the fight on me.
Mm-hmm.
If there's three of us and I'm playing correctly, the boss should stay 60% of the time on me. And it was not the case at all. It just seems like oftentimes stuff will just go off the rails and just start charging other players. And you're like, I'm here. And like sometimes to their own detriment, like sometimes I'd be running after them with like, say, a raider or something and just pounding them, dealing tons of damage. And the boss is like, no, the Iron Eye that's running away, that's who I gotta go get. And it's like, you idiot, I'm gonna kill you. Stop. And I'm just going in there with like jumping L1s and bam, with two big colossal weapons, dealing loads of damage. The boss is just like, no, that guy, he's gotta go. So the aggro is still a little bit wonky and maybe something that they need to work on a little bit more.
Mm. Well, to wrap up the Nightreign, do you have any criticisms? Do you have any things you don't like?
I mean, like I said, the biggest thing for me was the crossplay. I think that right now that I've played a lot, another thing is beginning to be the randomization, which we haven't really talked about, but I know that it's your opinion as well. I saw some of your videos.
Yeah.
You're like, you want more randomization. And to me, it's not even just wanting more randomization. I want the events to happen more often because it almost seems like you only get the events whenever somebody is queuing into you that happens to have it because they're at that point in the story.
Yeah.
I rarely see events now that I've finished the game. It rarely happens. I just get vanilla Limvel.
They just don't exist. There is no shifting earth for anything for me anymore. It doesn't matter how long I play.
I didn't even get to properly explore Noxtella. Like Cowboy taught me the route to get to the boss in Noxtella once, and that's the only route that I know because the very few times that we get Noxtella, I'm like, oh, I better do it right because otherwise I'm never going to see this again. So it's like, no, it is. That's the thing, though. It kind of like de-incentivizes experimentation with different routes when the events are on because they're so friggin' rare. The only one that I got consistently and this is because everybody was stuck in Tricephalos at the beginning, was the shifting Earth crater. That's the only one that you would see all the time.
Yeah.
And now not even that because everybody's done Tricephalos. Everybody's seen shifting Earth crater. So now I rarely ever see it. I don't know why that is. Like, if you go to my stream yesterday, for instance, right? Just yesterday I played the game. We didn't get a single one. We did like, I don't know, 5 runs or something like that. We didn't get a single event within 5 runs.
Yeah.
Like, that's not reasonable. There should be at least one event.
That's like 4 hours of nothing.
Yeah. So it's like they need to make those events happen more often. And obviously I'd like there to be more randomization as well. That'd be cool. But yeah, those events need to happen more often. And here's the other thing. How many times have you seen the Madness event, which is not like a map changing event, but it's like one of those dynamic events that can happen? How many times have you seen that? You've seen that one?
The Madness event? What's the Madness event?
You get that crazy Madness eye on top of a tower.
Never. I've never seen what you're talking about.
Exactly. I've seen it once. In 98 hours, I've seen that event once.
I don't know what you're... So yeah, okay. You're totally right. You're totally right. So not only is... If this is a roguelite, it's got the worst roguelite randomization of any game. Like I love the game. I really do. But like, it's not the roguelite that's making it good, you know? But even with the few that it does have, it's not even using the ones that it has well. It's not even utilizing the randomization that is in the game well. It's my frustration with it.
There should always be, I mean, maybe not always, but let's say 80% of the ones that you do should always have like one of those random things happen. Like, oh, Libra came in and cursed you. Oh, you got invaded by Bubbles Boy. So you got to go deal with him.
I've seen
you got
once.
invaded by the swarm of locusts. You've seen Bubbles only once?
One time.
Damn. Did you get invaded by the swarm of locusts at least?
Yes, that did happen. At least
the
3 times.
From Sentient Fest. Yeah. So it's very random whether you get these or not, but it's also, it doesn't happen enough. You want to know one of the cruelest ones that ever happened to me?
Yeah.
Libra comes in, curses us. I see it. And I'm with a group of friends, so we're like all in sync. And I just tell them, stay here, kill this boss. I'm going to go get Libra. So literally the moment Libra showed up, I am booking it towards Libra. And I'm taking like a good route. I'm not like, oh, I got lost and went. No, I'm like beelining Libra because the circle is closing and he's outside the circle. And I kid you not, the second I get to Libra, right as I'm about to press the button, like the prompt's about to I press the button and Libra's like, deuces.
Wow.
He left.
Yep.
And the thing is, it doesn't even matter if you go there at night 2. He's gone. You're
gone.
Cursed for the rest of the run.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, what the hell? That was so dirty. He just like literally invades, curses. I run to him and he's like, nope. Bye. You're
refuses
cursed
to elaborate
forever.
further, leaves.
That was like one of the weirdest ones, but it was, again, it's a funny moment. I don't care if I lose.
Those are
it was
fun.
funny.
Those are fun. Yeah.
Exactly, because he showed up, cursed, left, boom. But yeah, these need to happen more often. Like these random things that can happen. I think they're fun and they should happen. I haven't been invaded by Margit in a hot minute either. Like he sometimes would invade us. I haven't been invaded by him in a while too.
Yeah.
But yeah, they need to bring more of those things and they need to add more of them into the game. I actually would like them. This is one of my biggest wishes for this game. I don't know if FromSoftware is willing to put all of that investment into it because this would require a tremendous amount of investment, but a second map.
Bro, I feel like, okay, yes, I definitely want a second map, but I'm really disliking the map. Like that was my main criticism before the game released. I tried to tell people there's going to be one map. There's going to be one map and it's always going to be the same. And that was my biggest fear. It was my biggest concern. Everybody shit on me. Everyone's like, you're just fear mongering.
Well, you were wrong. The map's not always the same. Well, when the very rare events occur, it's different.
Yep, yeah, but it's only occurring in that localized space. And I did say that. I did put the caveats. It's like when it does change, you'll have these events because you could see the crater in the pre-release material. But if you, I bet you anything, if you walk away from that crater, the rest of the map is going to be the same. And I wasn't even complaining about it just because the map's going to be the same. I was complaining about it aesthetically. I didn't want to be only a Limgrave looking map at all points and times. Elden Ring has some of the best art direction of any game, and they have great assets they could make use of. Why do I not have a map for every biome? And then each one of those maps have a shifting earth. The amount of variation in this game is minuscule. Like the budget must have been tiny. You could
means they got a ton of money back.
Yeah. And hopefully that encourages them to do some of the stuff that you're asking for. Like a second map, I want 5. Like this is crazy. One for each Night Lord, you know, something. And each one with its own aesthetic. A Liurnia looking map, a Altus looking map, a Caelid looking map.
But I will say, even being as it is with just this one map, it will still take people like, I would say a good 30 to 40 hours to your average player to kind of like get a basic lay of the land because it is an extremely dense map.
I don't know if I agree with 30 to 40. Like it will take a while because you're struggling at first, but I think 20. At 20, you'll understand how the map works. You'll understand by
I'm
hours.
just a slow learner.
Well, I mean, you'll understand that you probably want to hit up the castle, especially if there's Crucible Knights every run. And okay, here's another thing: the runs kind of look the same every time. Like what you're practically doing in a run is basically the same. There's rarely a situation where you want to do something radically different. You're snowballing your way. Once you feel strong enough, you head to the castle. You clear out the things in the castle. You know, maybe if you have a relic that gives you the element that you start with, you know, you try and get the element that the boss is weak to. If you can't get the element that the boss is weak to, maybe you start off with a relic that makes your starting weapon that, and maybe another relic that gives you a skill that you want. So if you want holy damage for the final boss, you make your starting weapon holy. You give it Sacred Blade if you have a Sacred Blade relic, and then you're golden. You don't even you go to the mines to make it to purple, and that's better than most yellows that you might randomly come across because they won't be the right element and they wouldn't be as good for the boss. And so like what you're doing moment to moment is feeling very samey. It's fun, and it continues to be fun, hour 70, 80, 90, but it's definitely samey. And I think that's what's going to kill the longevity for me. I was assuming it was going to be a much lengthier game based on the pre-release information, and I guess that's where my big disappointment with it is.
Hoping that because they have the DLC that's coming,
Mm.
and that is going to be. I don't know if they said Night Lords or Night Lord, but at least one more Night Lord and like one or two Night Fairs or whatever.
Yep.
I'm hoping that with that they add additional content. Like I was saying, an additional map would be
It would get.
amazing to expand and some revamps in Limveld
Mhm.
to kind of like make random stuff happen more randomly, couple of new items, couple of new bosses. Because I mean, if you think about it, right, we're just kind of like touching the tip of the iceberg with reusing bosses that we faced previously.
Yes.
They haven't really used that many. They can have so many more.
They haven't used their
It's
best
the
bosses,
thing
which
is,
would be the DLC bosses, those would be great
oh,
to
I'm
bring
sure
out.
people be excited to fight Cornsword Radahn all over again. They'd love to do that.
No, they wouldn't, but I would be happy. I would be happy to see it. I told you
But
before, I was annoyed during the Shadow of the Erd Tree times when everybody was angry that it wasn't Godwin, and so my dream for Nightreign is that Consort Radahn comes back, but he comes back and they pretend like it's going to be Godwin. You see like Prime Godwin, and then he comes in like the Penetrator from Demon Souls, comes and stabs in the back, and now you got to fight Radahn again. It was all a lie. No Prime Godwin for you.
oh my god, that would be something that you'd like. You're friggin' troll. Doesn't surprise me. Just vengeful squirrel, dude. It's like sitting atop Yggdrasil, going like, "Yes, that's what you get." Was Ratatoskr vengeful back, like in in the history or mythology or whatever
He
of
was just kind of an
the Tree of
asshole.
Life?
He was just kind of an asshole. He
Okay, then it checks out. Yep, exactly.
what he would do is he'd talk to the snake at the bottom, the dragon at the bottom, and he'd tell and the eagle at the top, and he'd tell like gossip to them. It's like that snake's been talking shit about you. He said this and that about your mother, and get them angry at each other.
Yeah, see, everything checks out. Yep, exactly. That is what I would expect. No, but like more content, them actually adding more content, this I think would be great. I don't want it to be a live service, which is probably what a lot of people want because everybody wants their forever game nowadays. And it's like, listen, if you want a forever game, go play World of Warcraft. That's a forever game.
Yeah, but I want a
Let
good
everyone out of
one. I
content.
want a good one.
Exactly. You want a good, you're correct. Not a good one anymore. That's for damn sure.
Well, if anything, okay, so I don't agree that this game is slop. Obviously, I love this game, but I
Yeah.
will admit that it's kind of cheap. In like, it must have had a small budget. It's reusing all of its assets. It's reusing the basis of the story, and that is kind of cheap. It's not bad. I'm not saying
Okay.
it's bad, but okay, go ahead.
So now I'm gonna make you a question.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you a question. It's in Portuguese, making and asking is kind of like very similar. But so I'm gonna ask you a question. Let's say that somebody wants to work with you on your channel. They have like this idea for a video and you need to give them a budget. And it's like, you know that this person is trustworthy, but you don't know exactly how talented they're going to be if you hand them over the reins for them
Mm,
to put something on your channel. Are you willing to give them like say $50,000 or $5,000?
right. So
I kind of feel like that's the thing because like Miyazaki has said and that he's trying to train new directors and all of that stuff, but it needs to be calculated responsible risks. And it's interesting to me that people are so against this when we're constantly railing on the games industry for ballooning budgets into the moon
yeah,
and then trying to charge people more and more and putting microtransactions into everything when the sensible thing would be to, hey, Let's put in a smaller budget. Let's see what this project looks like. And hey, I guess it's pretty popular. We can either now expand on it or we can make a better one next time. But now we know that the director, I forget the dude's name,
Ishizaki.
that Ishizaki knows his shit and that he can put together a really cool multiplayer experience.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally agree
That's
with
what I'm
you.
looking at. And it's like, again, it's a $40 game. I've gotten 98 hours out of it,
Well,
and I'm
are my
still
money
not
worth.
done.
Yeah, and when the DLC comes
So,
out,
so
that'll
it's
give me
like,
another 20 at the bare minimum. It's likely to be
yeah,
way
but at
more
that
than
point,
that.
you're talking, at that point, you're talking 50, I think, because with the deluxe version, it's more expensive.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm actually curious.
Yeah.
Does that mean that it's going to segregate the player base?
No, it'll probably do it how all the other Souls DLCs did it, where you could play with them if they...
The other content, and so they get to see like the weapons and
Mhm.
all of that stuff that comes with the new classes, but they don't get to play it.
You
Yeah,
can't be
that
the
makes sense.
Nightfarer if it's with the new... I think there's going to be 2. Did they say they were going to be 2? I don't remember
But
anymore.
I think they should give them the Night Lord.
Oh, no, they got to pay. They got to pay for that Night Lord.
No, I think you should get, because otherwise, imagine like if a decent chunk of players don't pay for the DLC, that means that the players that have paid are kind of screwed because they're not going to be able to see the new boss if there's not enough people in the player pool. How's that going to work?
But there will be enough people in the player pool. All the people that got the DLC will access it. Well, actually, I wouldn't mind if they do give them the thing, but I don't but not able to start it
Let's put it
themselves.
yeah, exactly. They don't get to start it, but they can queue
join.
into like a random pool,
Yeah.
or something. Or if they have a friend that has the thing, because what was the game that did? Oh yeah, it was in Monster Hunter. You could still go back and play with the other players. Oh yeah, but they couldn't play the new content. Yeah, I don't know, but I'm hoping that they figured out in a way that keeps the player base together rather than, segregating them.
Right. Well, you wouldn't be segregated. You could still go back and play you just wouldn't be actually able to fight that one boss.
I think the best solution would be they can't start it,
Yeah,
but they can join a random pool, and through the random pool, they might be able to match into it.
that's fine. I think that would work for most people.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really criticizing the Nightreign. What I was trying to say was, given that this game has so many limitations, I'm very hopeful for Dustbloods now, because this game is super fun despite all of its constraints it was working under. Whereas Dustbloods, that's the main Miyazaki. That's a Miyazaki game. He can allocate whatever budget he wants to that. So there's no budget constraint. He's the CEO. He can say whatever the fuck number he wants it to be. That's how. So it doesn't have a monetary constraint other than what he wants it to be. It doesn't have tie-in to Elden Ring, so it's a brand new world. It doesn't have to be beholden to somebody else's story because Ishizaki's stuck in whatever in. He can do what he wants with the story. It doesn't have all reused assets and bosses. That's all new. I mean, that's those. Well, it's probably not all new assets, obviously, but it is new assets and new enemies and new bosses, stuff that we haven't seen before, stuff whose name we haven't seen before, movesets that we haven't seen before. And so given that Nightreign is so fun, my hype for Dustbloods is just astronomical now, especially since, I like PvP.
Yeah. I've definitely gotten more hyped for Duskbloods based off of what I experienced in Nightreign. As to whether or not that's going to materialize into Duskbloods also being awesome like Nightreign was for me, I don't know yet, but I've definitely gotten more hyped because like we've talked about, the multiplayer aspects of Souls games have always been exceedingly limited with where you can summon people, how you all get together.
Yep.
And it's always been something that's been kind of frustrating unless you're able to actually organize with friends and play from beginning to end. And it's like, you can't touch this character unless we're playing together. Because if you touch this character, you're going to ruin everything.
Yep.
Don't ruin everything. So I'm kind of like more excited about Duskbloods. That's probably going to be around the time that I will end up biting the bullet and picking up the Switch.
Switch 2. That's the smart way to do it. I went ahead and bought it early because I was afraid of shortages, and there were stuff like I want to play Metroid Prime 4, and it's coming this year. I was afraid that there would be shortages.
Oh yeah,
like there were.
Actually, I might pick it up for Metroid. I do want to play Metroid Prime 4 as well.
I'm very excited. I'm very excited for Metroid Prime 4. The Metroid Prime games are some of my favorites. So Yeah, that's why I got it. But it is probably smarter for people that are just interested in the Dust Bloods to wait. Maybe they can get a used one for cheaper by that point because it's
It's not even a
2026.
used one. To be honest, what I would love to see is like a revamp of the hardware because I've heard that the battery life on that thing is as good as the initial Switch, which was garbage.
Wow.
What what?
They revamped the initial Switch?
Yes, the OLED version.
Oh, okay. Okay. I thought you meant like there was a different version of the original that had better battery life.
That also happened.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't as good as the OLED, but there was like, I mean, I don't know if revamp is the proper term, but there was a point in time, I think it was around when the Super Mario Odyssey came out, there was a bundle and the one, and again, I could be wrong here, but I know that at one point there was a game that came out and you knew that if you got the bundle that came with that game, that was different hardware and it had a better battery life. I don't know. It was not by much. I think it went from 2 hours to 3 hours or something like that, but it was slightly better.
Hmm.
And then the OLED just has way more battery life than the original Switch. But I'm probably going to buy it before it gets to that point. But yeah.
Yeah. I guess since we were talking about Nintendo, did you see me getting absolutely decimated in my
I
comments?
haven't I haven't even watched that video. I don't have to because I can pretty much predict what is happening because
Yeah.
it's been an interesting situation with the Nintendo Switch 2. And I've always thought it was weird that there are so many people, but not people like your regular consumers. I think that they should do whatever they feel like they should do. But I find it interesting that you have content creators in the gaming space that are willing to paint themselves into a corner and be like, I'm not gonna buy the Switch 2. I'm taking a stance on thinking it's like that's fine if that's what you want to do, but just make sure about what you're doing because I think I've seen like at least 4 or 5 different content creators like I'm definitely not gonna buy it. I'm never gonna buy it, and they came up with like all of these reasons and made like really really big videos that were super popular and everybody going like yeah fuck Nintendo yeah, and then all of them bought it
Folded. They folded
instantly
immediately. Yeah.
day one. And the funny thing to me was when I covered it, I was like, man, I really don't like what Nintendo is doing, but I'm still going to buy it because I want to cover things and I want to do stuff. Would I buy it if not for content? Likely not. Not right away. But I do know that I'm eventually going to buy one. So I've always said I'm going to eventually buy one. Whether it might be day one, might not be day one. I haven't bought one yet, but I know I'm going to buy one at some point. But it's just so weird. Why would you, especially if you know you want to buy it?
Well, they
Like
needed to make the money to buy
nowadays,
it. Like those videos paid for for the Switch too.
like no, a lot of these creators were really, really big. They didn't need to make,
Yeah, yeah.
money from one video
I'm
to
joking.
do it. But the thing to me is this would be something that we could all do if the gaming community was properly organized and not constantly infighting. Because let's just face it, that's just the reality of it. We're never going to be organized if we can't even agree on something as basic as like games that do the 3 day early access bullshit, which is
Right,
absolutely ridiculous. It's
right.
a massive advantage for someone like me who is a content creator. So, for all intents and purposes, I should be going like, yes, more games that give early access so that I can buy them early and people have to come watch me to figure out whether or not they want to play it. But I'm fighting against it. And I still had people coming up, shut up, you poor bastard. What do you want? Go
Yep.
make some money, get a real job. And I'm just like, what the fuck? I'm sitting over here fighting for you guys not have to pay more money and I'm getting shit. That's ridiculous.
It's
So,
crazy. It's crazy. It's
and,
not
and,
even. Did you? I saw a Reddit thread about people defending character edit vouchers for Monster Hunter.
yeah, no, you shouldn't do that ever. That's ridiculous.
You're paying them for the privilege of not just unlocking the ability to to customize your character, to redo your character.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's like a one-time use. It's like you're paying them for 3 one-time use passes. I'm just like, this is
You know where
insane.
Capcom probably got that?
Where?
It was from Final Fantasy 14. You have no idea how much money Square Enix makes out of something called Fantasia that lets you change your character's race and stuff. Like people straight up buy that shit in droves, dude.
Hmm.
Like straight up. Hell, they sell them in bundles of like 10 and shit like that. And people buy it. But like the thing to me is I feel like people don't understand how the gaming community operates. So it would be interesting if we were able to actually organize a boycott that could actually impact Nintendo. I'd be all for that. Yes, let's actually do that. Yeah, sure. Here's the situation though, right? If you look at the Venn diagram that includes the entirety of the gaming community, and then you make another circle inside of that that includes people that actually consume social media content, you're talking about
It's not that
maybe
many.
percent.
Yeah.
And this is like a super exaggerate, maybe 20% of the gaming community consumes social media. And out of those 20%, maybe 10% of them care about videos about the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
And those 10% would be the ones potentially, and
And
that's the other
you
thing.
wouldn't be able to convince all 10
Exactly.
of that percent. Some of them would disagree with you. Yeah.
You won't be able to convince that 10% to organize a boycott. So it's like, listen, I get it. We should organize. We should. But the reality is, it's never going to happen when we can't even agree that 3 days early access to a video game as like some classist thing. When we can't even agree that that's a bad thing, when we can't even universally agree that character vouchers are a bad thing, we will never agree on whether or not what Nintendo is doing with $80 games and, you know, their console price, whatever, is a bad. It's never going to happen. Like, it sucks. By the way, it sucks. It'd be great if we could organize, but it's not going to happen. So therefore, getting like all upset and trying to make these grand gestures like, oh, I'm going to boycott and stuff. They're like, no, it's not going to happen. I'd love for it to happen, but it's not going to happen.
I'm totally fine with like grand gestures. I think that, you know, more power to them. They did cave, but okay, fine. Whatever. The thing with that I'm interested in. Damn it, my cat keeps meowing at me. Shut up.
Exactly. You tell that cat. Tell him next time I'll get a dog.
Yeah. Hang on. What was I saying? Stupid cat got me all discombobulated.
We were talking about like the grand gestures and all of that stuff, and people being like, "All, I'm not buying it."
Okay, well, so my video, like, I knew this was going to happen. But my video, I was just like, I like Nintendo. I like their games. I like the products, and I also like how they do business apart from this price increase. Like, because, okay, here's an example. They don't do the 3-day early access. Basically, the video was saying, but they don't do.
Very good point.
They don't do microtransactions. They could. They could. They have infinite money at their feet.
They do microtransactions in some games.
The only example I could
doesn't
find.
Animal Crossing have some of those at least?
I don't think so in Animal Crossing. The only microtransactions that I could find in first party Nintendo was the Wii, not the Wii, the Mii outfits. That's the only example I could find for their first party stuff. And there's like they have a couple of mobile games, but I don't. That's not what I'm talking about. We're talking about the Switch 2 here. So, you know, I'm sticking to that.
I think we were lagging pretty bad. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I think we might be back then. I was saying Animal Crossing. Did you check up on?
I looked up at Animal Crossing. I don't play it, but I couldn't find an example. They have DLCs, but it's not. I don't think they have microtransactions in the traditional sense. The only example I could find was Mii outfits for Smash Brothers, which I think are true microtransactions in that you pay a little bit of money for that. But that's the only example that I could find, and it's not like a systemic thing that's happening everywhere. And a lot of people mentioned in the comments amiibos, which they consider microtransactions, which I guess I didn't think of the amiibos because they're toys or like they're figurines. And
yeah, but amiibos also give you stuff in
they
the
give you
games,
stuff.
like
Yeah.
in Monster Hunter Rise. I have the whatever, the Magnum Alo amiibo, and that gives you like an exclusive layered armor for your character.
Is it actually exclusive? Like you can't get it in a different way?
Yeah, I don't think you can get it any other way.
Okay.
At least you couldn't. On release of Rise, I know for a fact that you couldn't. I don't know if that's changed since then, but on the release of Rise, you couldn't get the Magnum Alo outfit any other way.
Yeah. So apart from, I guess, those two, which I just didn't think of, so that was my bad. Apart from those situations, I couldn't find examples of like true microtransactions, the kind that I'm describing, the kind that's really prevalent in Monster Hunter. You know, the one that if you buy all DLCs, it's like $200 worth of stuff for the game. So basically, the what I was saying in the video is that we talked. There's often the story with Reggie making the Wii free. Wii Sports comes free with the Wii, and that was him bundling it up. But in his book, he talks about how Miyamoto was pissed. Iwata was like, "No, we're Nintendo. We don't bundle our stuff for free. We don't give away our precious software for free. The reason that people buy our hardware is because we are Nintendo. We have unique, hardworking stuff." And Miyamoto expressed this kind of like artistic pride, where he was like, "You don't understand how hard it is to make these games. How hard we work." So they have this attitude like we deserve to be paid for our work. We are awesome. We're not like these other people. So they've got this extreme arrogance, and it might be arrogance. They might be wrong about themselves. I didn't dispute that in the video. They could be wrong about themselves, but they have this extreme arrogance where they're like, that's why they're selling Nintendo Tour. That's why they're not bundling it, and they don't have a Reggie in their ear telling them that that's the right thing to do and that they should do that, especially if they're trying to buy the goodwill of people and show off the capabilities of the Switch 2. Like Reggie was not. He posted a tweet talking about how basically they shouldn't have done that. But it comes
Did you play that game, by the way?
Oh, I'm not paying $10 for that shit. I deserve it for free. I deserve it for free. They are arrogant. They should have given it to me for free.
They're Craftsman, but I need that one for free.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically the point in the video is that this Craftsman attitude, this we're Nintendo, we're hot shit attitude, is the source of all of their terrible decisions, like upping the price and not selling their games on sale. But it's also I'm proposing the position that it might also be the reason why they don't have these microtransactions. Their ecosystem is relatively microtransaction free, apart from these two examples, the amiibos and the stuff. And
so here's what I'm going to say.
Go for it.
Do you think that they would sell more copies of Mario Kart World at $80 or at $60?
I think they'd sell more at $60. But they didn't have a Reggie
and
to tell them that.
They
didn't have a Reggie to tell them that.
They would have also stopped themselves from having all of this bad press.
Yeah.
So
they're spending all their goodwill.
Just been easier.
They're spending all the goodwill that they've built up.
Just sell it for $60. Don't do any of this stupid nonsense that everybody else is doing with, early accesses and all of these things. And they would have made a bundle. Hell, I'll tell you what, they could sell it at $30 and they would make even more money than at 60. Easily. But they could just sell it at 60 and still be fine. By be fine, I mean actually make more money than what they're going to make. Yeah.
Yeah, I never said that it was a good business decision. I just think that that's the reason why they're doing it. Like, I think that they're raising prices precisely because they have this attitude, like, we deserve to be paid. It's worth $80. We worked hard on it. All the games get to be $70 and now $80 for the special ones. Everybody else is selling tons of microtransactions. This is what we're gonna do. That's my opinion on the subject.
Yeah, but the thing is, do you think that they need to be defended?
Well, I don't need to put out any of the opinions that I have, in video format. Every video that I do is an opinion I'm
just saying there's a different way to package that video where you can say that and not seeming like you're taking their side. And I think that's why I got a lot of crap.
Well, it's because I'm a Nintendo dick sucker, and it's true. I'm only comfortable when I have a Nintendo dick, firmly down my throat. It's
it's like a pacifier.
It's like a pacifier. Yeah. No, I genuinely like them, and I get that people are bad.
Wait, you genuinely?
Genuinely like Nintendo.
No, that's not what you said.
Genuinely like the pacifier.
Yeah.
If they
there you go.
They should release a product line so I could just have one on me at all times.
Oh no. I mean, they do like making quirky devices. You never know.
Yeah, they made the Alarmo next up. That's the next thing.
They had the one that was they had that one that was supposed to measure like your heart rate or whatever. That never came to fruition. Funnily enough, streamers have that now. A lot of streamers have like a heart rate monitor for whenever they're playing hard games.
Fun. That's fun.
Yeah. Nintendo was ahead of its time once again. They were coming up with the heart monitor thing.
Okay, this is kind of related, but it's also like a transition into the showcases. Did you see that the Xbox showcase had the Outer Worlds 2 for $80?
Yes.
Um,
I don't like it there either. I think it's a terrible idea, especially for the Outer Worlds 2, because I liked Outer Worlds 1. I thought it was fun. I think that a majority of people are not going to pick up Outer Worlds 2 at $80, but I think Microsoft knows that the very same way that Ubisoft knew that when they were trying to sell people Star Wars Outlaws for $130. They don't want you to buy the Outer Worlds 2 for $80.
they want Game
So
Pass sales.
exactly. That's why they don't care. They don't care if you buy it at $80 or not. As a matter of fact, they're pricing it at $80 so that Game Pass seems like a better deal. They
Yep,
want you to sign up for Game Pass and then forgot that you signed up for Game Pass to play that game.
yep.
And then just constantly paying your account. Because why do they care about getting $80 now when they could be getting like $300 out of you over the course of a couple of years because you forgot? Because so many people do forget that stuff.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm sure you're right. I'm sure that's the because
Yeah.
that's crazy. Like at least Mario Kart World, that's gonna sell. It's Mario Kart. Everybody likes Mario Kart. Well, a lot of people like Mario Kart. It sold like 80 million sales in on the Switch. Like it's stupid
And and
numbers.
that mi- And that Mario Kart isn't even the Switch Mario Kart. That's the Wii U Mario Kart. That's the best part.
Yep. And so they can, at least they put their heavy hitter, like their $80 game. It's something people are gonna buy. People are gonna buy Mario Kart. No one's gonna buy the fucking Worlds 2 at a price point like that. This is you're right. It's Game Pass sales. It has to be.
It's for Game Pass sales. But like before we abandoned the Nintendo Switch 2 thing, I
Hmm.
also wanted to point out one of the main reasons why I was excited to pick up the Switch 2 ended up being one of the main reasons why I haven't picked it up. Like the main reason I was excited to pick up a Switch 2 is because I built a substantial, well, I say substantial. I have like, I don't know, 20, 30 physical copies of games that that I haven't had time to play even, but I know I'm going to like them. So like I have Octopath Traveler 1 and 2. I have the entirety of the Xenoblade Chronicles collection, although those I've played most of them already. But like, I have a bunch of games that I bought on Switch because I knew inevitably a Switch 2 would come that would have better hardware than the Switch 1, and I would be able to experience those games in a higher fidelity and just have like still be able to play them on the go and all of that stuff. And I was very frustrated when it was revealed in like an article or something that the way that it works on the Switch 2, it's actually not running natively. And I understand, new hardware stuff needs to get changed around and all of that. But I was like, all right, so they won't run natively, but surely they're not going to charge me for it. And that's exactly what I'm like, come on, man. Do you really need to make $10 on a better version of Breath of the Wild? Do you need to make $10 on a better version of Tears of the Kingdom? You've already like printed money with these games. People are already going to give you like $500 for the console and you're going to like nickel and dime them like that? Like that just felt extremely dirty because I'm like, I already bought these games. I bought these games at a premium, I might add,
Yeah.
because Nintendo games never go on sale. I bought them physically because I want the physical editions. Now you're coming up with the game key cards, which we already talked about this. I still don't like the fact that game key cards exist. It's like, listen, you want to
I
do it
don't like
like
them
that,
either.
just buy them digitally. Just buy the games digitally. Boom, done. No, just
The
don't support it at all. The whole game key card thing. It's dumb. But
Okay,
like
but
all of this stuff, and
just to
then
talk about
at
the key card for 1 second. Yeah, I totally agree. You can just buy them digitally, but they have resale value. You can sell them at GameStop if you don't want them anymore, and that's not something that you can do with other stuff, like with a digital code or with
they have resale value for a couple of years until they decide to shut down the
until
store.
they
Then they're
decide
worthless.
to shut down the store. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's the thing, right? There's all of that, and it's like, so my games apparently they didn't even work day one. So like, if not day one, but before the day one patch, because you needed like a day one patch for the console in order to be able to actually be backwards compatible or something like that.
I
Which I
don't
was like, really?
I don't know. I didn't check.
Yeah. But so the out of the box, it's not even compatible with the previous stuff. That's all stuff that kind of like started leaving. That's actually the main reason I haven't picked one up yet. It's the way they've implemented backwards compatibility and the fact that they want to charge you for these enhanced versions of the games in order for you to be able to play them at a higher frame rate. I'm like, come on, man.
I
It's like imagine if you buy a new GPU and I have to give Intel, not Intel. Well, I guess it can be Intel nowadays as well. Intel, Nvidia, or AMD, you have to give them $10 to unlock the. I mean, it's like the whole thing that we had in there's cars that are doing this now, where you have to pay $10 a month for the AC or some bullshit. Like some cars are like that now. It's like, bro, you're crazy.
that is
There was
insane.
even like I don't know if it was a Mercedes or a BMW that you needed to pay to gain access to the full power of the engine. Otherwise, they'd nerf the engine of your car.
I do
And
remember
if you
that.
weren't paying like some monthly fee, I'm like, bro, what world is this? Microtransactions in cars? Come on now. So it's like Nintendo did all of these things that brought them bad will for all the goodwill that they had before. And they just kind of like kept doubling down on all of these things with like the updated games and all that stuff. It's just like,
Let
come
me
on,
grab
you don't need
my
that.
my Nintendic pacifier over here for a moment, and
Here we go.
the I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. But isn't this like a standard thing that happens with all of them? Didn't the same thing happen with like the Last of Us upgrades or any of these upgrades where they work on the game?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes, and I gave them shit there too.
yeah, yeah. So okay, here's okay. This is the real thing. I often defend Nintendo because I feel like the shit that they get is disproportionate to their crimes compared to other things. So that's probably really the reason. If I'm going to psychoanalyze my motives here, it's like I don't see other people getting shit on as much for what I think is comparatively like way worse things that happen. So that's
Oh,
probably
like
it.
I'll tell you right now, what Sony did with Horizon Zero Dawn is way worse because due to how they did their remaster, and I was surprised that I saw people like defend this, but because I saw online the pictures side by side of like, did you ever play Horizon Zero Dawn?
I played the original, but not
Yeah.
the sequel.
So the beginning sequence where it is showing not her father because she's not actually the daughter of the guy that shows up, but you know the guy who's like her father figure,
Hmm.
and it shows that he's almost being rebellious against the tribe and getting like some ritual done for her so that she's accepted within the tribe and doing all these things, right? And you can tell that this is something that is hard for him, right? You can tell in his facial expression that this is something that he knows he's going to struggle with because he's going to be ostracized by the tribe and he's going to be outcast and all of these things. In the remastered version, because they cleaned it up and up-resed it and it's no longer a CGI, it's now in-game engine and all of that stuff, it takes away that emotion that you can read into his face that he's like, oh, this is hard. It just looks like he's chilling. It's like, yep, just doing the ritual for my daughter. It's all good. And it's like
So
it's a goddamn crime. You made it worse.
so you made
Like,
it worse
did
and
you
you've
improve the
charged them
visuals?
for the pleasure.
Yeah. You
Wow.
improved the visuals. Congratulations. Now I can't read the micro expressions the dude was making that gave a completely different vibe to that cutscene. It's ridiculous. So yeah, it was pretty bad. And the fact that they charged money for it was even worse. And the fact that it didn't need it because the game, even if you run the PS4 version on the PS5, it looks amazing. I don't
Right.
understand.
Right. Yeah. Okay. That's one of the benefits that I've always liked about the PS5 versions. Like if you play the original PS4 versions on the PS5, almost always runs way better. It's almost always runs.
Yeah.
The optimal way to play Elden Ring was the PS5, was on the PS5, but it's the PS4 one because all the other
It's
ones
the
had
PS4,
problems.
yeah.
Yeah.
But see, that's what I want. I want to be able to just like run these games better without having to give them money. But most of the games are not supported unless the game was running at an unlocked frame rate. So some games were programmed to run at an unlocked frame rate, and those run well. But
Hmm.
like for instance, you can't just like put in Generations Ultimate and get 60 FPS. It's like, well, what the crap? You can't put in Rise and get 60 FPS. It's like, well, that's exactly what I want.
That's what I wanted. Yeah.
So, So yeah, that's why I ended up not picking it up. But I will. I will. I'm not like grandstanding like, oh, I'm not buying and making this big deal. It's like if we actually had a gaming community that was unified, yes, I would probably join boycotts and stuff like that. But we don't. It's ridiculous to think that we do, and we never will.
I think the only reasons. Okay, so Nintendo's 3DS did drop in price. So they initially sold it for like I think $250, and this was also in Reggie's book, and it had like no lineup at start, and they were forced to reduce the price by a substantial amount, below 200 actually, and the but the thing is, stuff like that doesn't happen because people are morally outraged at the price. It only happens if they don't have the interest. Like like I would get even if I was as unhappy with everybody else as it, I'd still have to pick up a Switch 2 if only for Dustbloods. Like I have to for Dustbloods because the Dustbloods isn't even something that I can choose to emulate. Like first of all, there is no Switch 2 emulator as of yet, as far as I can tell. But even if there was, that's not going to work on the Dustbloods. It's a PvP oriented game. Most people are going to be playing on the Switch 2. I can't take a moral stand and go play by myself and the 15 other people that are going to be try-harding on the emulator. That's just not going to happen. I need the Dustbloods. I care about that game, and I'd pay. Even if it's a $500 console for one game, I'd have to pay it. I'm stuck.
I mean, I'm like I said, I'm eventually going to buy it too. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Summer Game Fest, I guess we can move on to. What did you find interesting in it?
There's a ton of stuff. I've taken down a couple. I mean, the thing is, not everything is a new announcement. It's just like I've taken notes on all the things that were shown, right?
Mm-hmm.
But before we even get there, I wanted to call your attention to one other game that you might want to check out. I'm not sure if you'll like it, but I think you should check it out. It'll only take you like less than 2 hours. It's a demo.
Which one?
It's a game called Hell Is Us.
Yes, I've already played that demo. I'm very interested.
Ah, okay. Did you like it?
I don't think I like the combat that much. It's kind of jank, but I like almost everything else. I think that
that's what I would expect, because the combat's a little bit too simplistic. But I was like, man, I think Matt Oscar would really love the immersion in this game because they've done a really good job with that stuff.
Great atmosphere. It looks very nice, and I like their attitude. You know, they're like, we're not going to tell you what to do. Like there's going to be puzzles that you're going to figure it out. We're not going to put you map markers. Just look around and figure it out. And it was more polished than I thought. Yeah, the puzzles were easy in the demo, obviously, but it looks like the kind of thing where they're just getting you used to it. You're looking at they give you all of the relevant information that you've seen in your little journal. So you don't have to like go back and look at it. It won't be as tedious as I thought it might be. So it keeps all of the datum. And I'm sure that the puzzles and secrets and stuff will get more complicated as the game progresses. So I'm interested. I just don't know if the combat's going to jive for me.
The combat is also where I was like, it feels very simplistic, but then again, you're right at the very beginning. So who knows how crazy stuff can get a little bit further ahead.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember that the first time I saw combat for that game, I was like, ooh, I'm not going to like this. This is going to be some garbage. I'm going to hate this game. And then I played it on stream just out of curiosity, and I was like, oh, damn. The problem is the performance in that thing is atrocious. It's so bad.
Yeah.
Like those, because they don't do shader caching or for whatever reason. So like everything is loading for the first time on the cinematic, and it's just like, oh God, this is so bad right now. Why would you do this? But yeah, other than that, I thought that Hell Is Us is a very interesting title that I didn't expect to get quite as drawn into at this point. But yeah.
Yep.
So when it came to, I have that all mixed up. So it's like it's the three ones that are the important ones, which is PlayStation State of Play, Summer Game Fest, and the Xbox presentation. I don't know which one was announced where, but yeah, one of the first things called my attention, Final Fantasy Tactics, because I never played it. And everybody's always talking about Final Fantasy Tactics. And I'm like, oh, finally, a modern version of this game. It's time for me to jump in and play it. Have you played it before?
I played it earlier this year, surprisingly. Like I just beat it. It was really good. It was surprisingly good. Surprisingly good story for what
Yeah.
for what I expected. The remake looks good. The remake, it actually has content that I didn't play because I played the original. Despite everybody trying to tell me to play the right version, I still ended up making a mistake in playing the wrong version. So I might replay it, but not right now. I just played it.
I mean, it's only coming out September 30th, so you got time.
Now I need way more time. I need to forget what
Yeah.
I saw.
But yeah, that was one that interests me. Ghost of Yote, although they didn't show much, which is kind of dumb. They're
That
like,
was
"Oh yeah,
that was so strange,
look,
right?
yeah, yeah, here's a dog, here's the character, and we'll talk to you in July." And I was like, "Really? Okay. I mean, it is what it is." Ninja Gaiden 4. I mean, I'm always interested in going for some more Ninja Gaiden punishment, depending on what else is coming out at the time. And right now, it seems to have a pretty clear window. It's October 21st, and there's nothing too close to it, so I'm probably going to
I,
play that.
I'm gonna
Well,
have to play like Ninja Gaiden, one of the original ones, or like the remakes of the original ones, because I've never played one of those Ninja Gaiden games. I think Black is that the good one? What
uh,
one of them is the
I've
one I need to
only,
play.
I think I might have played the first and the second one, or just the second one. I forget, but I think I played the first and the second one. But it was so long ago. This was like PS3 days. I don't remember anything about those games, but I remember it being hard. It was hard as hell. And you know, you go into it with with that mentality that like, oh yeah, I played Demon Souls.
I can handle it.
Played Dark Souls. These games are beneath me. Easy mode, like yeah, right. get completely blasted, get murdered. But yeah, it was during those days where I was arrogant because like I beat Dark Souls and I thought it was hard. Because like I thought Dark Souls and Demon Souls were hard the first time I played them, and then I realized, and that's when I started making the videos. Guys, these games aren't hard. Okay, people have lied to you. These games ain't hard. Trust me.
Yeah,
You want some hard games? I'll show you some hard games.
yeah.
It ain't Dark Souls. But yeah, so Ninja Gaiden 4 I think will be interesting, especially because isn't this the one that they have Platinum Games also working on it?
Yes, but I'm not sure that means as much as it used to. They've had a
Yeah,
lot of
exactly. That
flops.
that is the thing. That is the thing. You no longer know if like, oh, the Platinum Games worked on this. It's like, but is that a good thing nowadays? I'm still waiting for Kamiya to do something where it's like, guys, Scalebound. It's coming back.
Well,
I found a way.
he's doing Okami too. I'm really happy about that. I love Okami.
Yeah.
Okami.
Never played Okami.
It's good.
I
It's
never played
good.
Okami. I'm gonna play the one that they're working on. I think that's coming out next year, right? I'll probably play that one.
Okami 2, no release date. It'll probably be a while.
There's no release date at
No
all?
release date.
Okay. So The Outer Worlds 2, I'm interested in playing, but this one is like one of those that's like, I'm interested, but I'm not like chomping at the bit. So I'm probably, by the time this comes out, I'm probably still playing Ninja Gaiden 4, unless something else gets in the way.
Instead of playing The Outer Worlds 2, you should be playing The Outer Wilds 1. The Outer...
Yeah, I need to find some time. The problem is I need to I also have to I have these 13 miniatures that still need painting and a whole scenery that needs painting as well for my kill team stuff. Then I can start thinking about games that I want to play.
Is that the kind of thing that you could stream, like, and not perform badly? I know that's always a
What,
concern.
Wilds? Outer Wilds?
Outer Wilds.
No, it would crash.
It would crash.
100%.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, Expedition 33 was crashing my channel.
Really?
Yes.
Whoa.
That's the hard part.
Whoa.
Yeah. Nobody wants to see me play turn-based games, it turns out. Unless it's Baldur's Gate 3 and I'm playing a silly bard dwarf making weird things.
Oh, I'm happy that at least worked out.
Yeah, that worked out. That was cool.
So,
But yeah, getting back to the list.
well, hang on.
Or,
Since
sorry,
you
you were gonna
mentioned
say something?
since you mentioned Expedition 33, you got a PlayStation 33 because we're gonna end up.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna end up at the same situation as we had last year, where we're like right before the Game Awards, and like we're looking at all the nominees, and we're like, oh, we haven't played any of this shit. We haven't played any of these damn games.
And now listen, I've already did my job. I've played Doom Dark Ages. I haven't finished it, but I played the crap out of that game.
Mhm.
So I got Doom Dark Ages unlocked, but nobody cares because I guess most people didn't actually like it.
What about what is that other game? What's that other popular game that I think is going to get nominated? Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Where are you
I
on
did
that?
not play that, and I don't
Oh,
have any plans to play it. And I have
not your
nothing
type?
against them. Then I usually don't tend to play a lot of first-person games.
Right.
And another one was brought to my attention that I'm more interested in playing than Kingdom Come Deliverance, which is a game called Tainted Grail.
A lot of people have been telling me about that. That sounds really interesting.
The interesting thing was the developers reached out to me out of nowhere. I've never spoken to any of them. I had no idea. And they were just like, hey, we'd like to send you a box.
Huh.
I was like, why? Like, well, we just want to send you this box. And it's like, okay. So they send me like the collector's edition. And it's got like some cool stuff and whatnot. And I was like, oh, I'll check out the game. Sure. I did a live stream of it. And I played a little bit before the live stream. And I really like it because you know how the combat in something like, say, a Skyrim is basically like, oh, you block with the left mouse. If you're doing melee, right? You
Mhm.
block with the left mouse button and then you attack with, well, the other way. You block with the right mouse button and you attack with the left, and that's pretty much it. You can hold the left for charge attacks, not much else. This game has parries. It has dodges,
Mhm.
which you're like, how does a dodge work in first person? It works surprisingly well. So it's got parries, dodges. I've already seen, you know, you have like a really complex skill tree that you can fiddle with to improve just going for a straight up shield build, which is something that not a lot of games do. There's also interesting mechanics to its spell casting where you say, for instance, you have a spell, right? And the spell's a fireball. You can tap it and it shoots out a fireball, or you can hold it and now it's a flamethrower. Or you have one that you tap it and it debuffs your enemies with bleed, or you can hold it and it steals life. And there's way
Huh.
more depth into a lot of its combat and stuff than something like a Skyrim. And
So
that is
so
something that
Skyrim,
I find,
but like actually
but
in
actually
depth.
good.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. So I like that when I've played of that, and that would be something that I would play likely before I jump into Kingdom Come Deliverance. Again, not saying Kingdom Come Deliverance is bad. I haven't touched it. I don't know, but I got into Tainted Grail, and that seems way more interesting to me right now.
Are you interested in Death Stranding? I know that's coming up soon.
I am. I don't know if I'm gonna have time to play it because it's like right now I have a bit of an opening because we just finished Overture, and I'm about to do all the remembrances of Nightreign. So I'm kind of like, okay, I have a spot. And I'm thinking I'm probably going to start playing Expedition 33.
Mm.
Kind of just like actually jump into that properly. Hopefully, people won't spoil me in chat anymore like they did when I was playing it 2 days after release. Thanks.
I've started putting a thing on my streams that was like backseaters will be shot.
Backseaters will be shot. Yeah.
It doesn't help,
Some
but it helps a little.
sometimes I feel like I need to do that as well. I remember I did something like that for Tears of the Kingdom. And you said you copied it off of me
I
because of
did.
my Tears of the Kingdom thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to bring that back for some games. Like Lies of P Overture was also something that I probably could have used that sign. Don't make me tap the sign. You want to know another interesting game that I played not related to this at all?
Yeah.
A game called Blades of Fire.
Let me look this up.
Have you
No, I've never heard
have
of
you
it.
heard about this at all? Okay. So think of it like this. The way the combat works in this game is say you have a sword. You can choose two attack modes with a sword. You can slash or you can stab. So that's like the first thing. Then the other thing is your faceplate buttons. Do you play with an Xbox or a PlayStation controller?
PlayStation controller.
So triangle is headshot. So you would strike at the head. Circle is you strike in from you strike in from that side. So from the right side, your side towards the enemy's left side. Square, it's the opposite. So you attack from your left side towards the enemy's right side. And X, you're going to hit low. So usually like stomach, legs, stuff like that, depending on the enemy that you're facing. So you have these three types of combos with this. And again, you have like either piercing attacks or slashing attacks, depending on your stance. And if you're using a hammer or something like that, then you have blunt attacks. And all of this affects how much damage you deal on the enemy, depending on the type of enemy that it is, and depending on the state of your weapon. So you also need to sharpen your weapon. You need to repair your weapon. Sharpening the weapon takes away durability. So you have to properly manage everything about your weapon in order to be able to fight. And I know that this sounds like, oh, that sounds like a lot of friggin' min-maxing and a lot of
but I like that.
Management.
That's the kind of thing I enjoy.
But it's not overwhelming, because when I started explaining this, people instantly went, oh, it's Breath of the Wild. No, it's nowhere close to that. Because the thing is you're crafting these weapons yourself. So when you're killing enemies, they're dropping materials like iron and other things that you're going to need. And you're also unlocking new types of weapons. So say, for instance, you see an enemy and he's got he's dual wielding axes. You start killing that enemy and the game tells you, okay, you need to kill like 20 more of these. And then you can craft this weapon. So you're unlocking weapon types that you can craft, and you're getting materials while you're killing these enemies, right? And then you go into this in-depth forge, because you have like this special hammer they give you at the beginning of the game that lets you craft these weapons. And the way that it works is you're actually crafting like the different pieces. So say I want a blade and I want it to be like concave in this thing, and that will change the stats of that weapon. And you're crafting the pommel. You're designing the weapon basically. And then when you put the weapon down to be crafted, they're going to give you like this line, like an outline of what your weapon should look like. And then there's these bars that are going to go up and down depending on the way that you hammer the blade into shape. So the whole thing is like this minigame of using the left and right stick to aim the hammer and the strength of the hammer. And it'll give you a preview of what changes it's going to make to these bars that you need in order to kind of like reach as close to the outline that they give you. And so you can do like 20 strikes or something like this on the weapon. So you really need to like get into the nitty gritty of crafting this thing proper, because the closer you get to the line, the higher the quality of the weapon is going to be. And the more times you're going to be able to repair it, the more damage it's going to deal and all of that stuff. So you're really taking the time to craft this thing, and then you go and you use that weapon in the game with the mechanics that I told you about of swapping stances, hitting high, hitting low, and all of that. And then to give you an idea, there's like this small port, because I only played like the beginning, I don't know, 20 hours or so. And there's this portion of the map, which is not a big portion. It's like this castle looking place. I spent like 8 hours trying to navigate that goddamn place because it's a friggin' maze. And I was always trying, oh crap, no, this is that end. Got to go this other way. So they've done a good job at all of these things. I think the game is fun. The combat, despite what I'm saying, it is simplistic. The combat is just got all these management elements of sharpening the weapon, managing durability, the way that you attack, and all of that. The problem is they made it an Epic exclusive, so it's not going to sell on PC.
Okay.
They shot themselves in the foot.
You could have led with that. I'm not playing Epic.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not going to fucking download Epic Case.
It's like, what? Why are you even talking? Yeah. It's an Epic exclusive. I don't care. It's also on consoles, I think. But yeah,
okay, that makes it a little better.
Liked it. I liked it. I thought it was really good. But it made me really sad because I know that most people aren't going to look into it because it's exclusive to Epic.
I hate when they do things like that. I can't stand having to have multiple things. Like I'm at my limit already, and I think I've only done it twice. But I'm not doing it anymore. I'm done. If I have to sign into your website, if I have to use your stuff, no. I want to push my button on Steam that says play game, and I want to play the game. And that's it. I don't want to sign into Epic Game Store to play your game. I don't want to sign into any kind of thing like that. I'm already at the limit where I was. I won't do it for anything else.
Yeah. But getting back to Summer Game Fest, we were at The Outer Worlds 2.
Yep.
So another one, I think they showed this. I'm not sure, but I'm so excited for this game that I just have it on my list, which is Crimson Desert. I don't know if they showed a new trailer for it or not, but I'm super excited for Crimson Desert. I don't know if you've seen it yet.
I know it.
It's yeah, you know of it, wrestling moves with sword and shield and doing crazy things. I'm like, yes, this one. I'm into it.
Yep, big monsters.
Then they shadow dropped the demo for Neo 3.
Are you a big Neo fan? I don't
What
remember. I don't remember your Neo feelings.
I like Neo. I usually don't tend to play the DLCs because I feel that when I play Neo, I need to format my brain to play Neo. And then when a DLC comes, my brain is formatted for something else.
Hmm.
And I know that I'm going to hate playing the DLC. So I kind of just like usually don't tend to play those DLCs. But Neo itself, I usually play the base game because I enjoy it. So I've played the demo. Demo is fun, very, very hard. As per usually, they don't give you like the best tools possible to tackle the demo. So I struggled like a maniac to deal with the boss. I'm not so sure about their open world approach to it. I'll
It
have to
seems
see more of the
strange.
the
Yeah.
final game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you play it? Neo the demo?
I am not a big Neo guy. I
Okay.
only played the first game, and I really did like parts of the first game, but I don't like the combat, and I have trouble giving the rest of them a try because I keep having negative experiences with snobby Neo players that are like, "Oh, bro, you got to try Neo. It's so much better than Souls games." And I'm like, I'm already like disinclined to try it because you're over here just like Souls games are shit compared to Neo. It's like, okay, bro. But
So if you didn't like the combat of Neo 1, you're
yeah,
probably not gonna like this.
okay,
So yeah.
okay. I did. There were
The
things I liked about it. Like I liked how Nobunaga was a character that they like brought back to life. Like the whole story was like the guy. I want to start a civil war in Japan. I'm going to bring Nobunaga back to life to start the civil war. And then Nobunaga comes back. And it's like, no, I have achieved spiritual enlightenment in the afterlife. I don't want war no more. And he looks like so cool and badass with white hair. It's like, okay, this is peak. This is great.
Yeah, those are fun. But so Neo 3 dropped the Shadow dropped the demo. Another one that I've been interested in is Pragmata. And I've
Yes.
actually seen Maximilian dude played Pragmata, and he talks about how there's like this puzzle mechanic that you're doing while you're shooting enemies and whatnot, and how that was like super engaging. So I'm super curious about Pragmata.
I'm interested.
And that one looks good.
the
Yeah.
the robot girl was surprisingly cute, like surprisingly cute character.
So are you a Suda 51 guy or not so much?
I can be. I like some of his stuff. I'm gonna play that.
So
What's it called?
Romeo is a dead man?
Yes, yes.
I'm a dead man, man. Like, what the hell? It's such
It
a weird.
it
It was
sold me
funny
when the
because
art style changed. When the art style changed, and then he got a katana. I was like, oh, sold. All you had to say
yeah,
no more.
the second I got a glimpse of gameplay, I was like, this is some Suda 51 shit, 100%. There's no
Hmm.
way this is literally anybody else. It's Suda 51. So that one I'm interested in. This one is it's kind of like it called my attention, but it's probably not going to be something that I'm going to be covering too in depth. I did play Dragon Ball Fighter Z quite a bit because you know how you have that one friend that plays a bunch of fighting games and he always thinks he's some bad shit
Yep.
because he plays a ton and none of us actually play those. So I fucked my friend over because I played the fuck out of Dragon Ball Fighters and he thought that like, oh, they don't usually play fighters, so yeah, let's go. Let's play Dragon Ball Fighters. And I beat his shit so bad, dude. I fucking humiliated him. And I was like, yeah, how do you like it, motherfucker? You like that shit? so, so I like Dragon Ball Fighters. I like Arxis and the Marvel Tokon thing that they showed. I thought the designs of the Marvel characters look really cool.
I
So
loved
that's
him.
something that I might play just for fun, but I don't think it'd be something that I do content on.
I've never played I don't do fighting games. I don't play fighting games. But
Yeah.
that one looked really good. Like
What
I
about
thought it
what
looked
about
sick.
Smash Bros?
Apart from
What
Smash
about Smash
Brothers.
Bros?
Apart from Smash Brothers.
Yeah, Smash is fun. But so the next one is probably what I like the most out of the whole show. Even though it's not like a reveal we knew about this game, it's Onimusha. Onimusha, Way of the Sword.
I like it. It's got a katana. Check. You can deflect with the katana. Check. I'm sold. I'm sold. Give me that. Okay, I'll say this
I
about it.
like
It oh, go ahead, please.
I like the fact that out of all the gameplay we've seen, it seems like the pacing is much slower than your traditional katana games that are just like super fast paced. I want something that's slower paced.
Yeah.
And I think that Onimusha is going to be that game. I've never played any of the original ones or anything like that. I'm not like an OG Onimusha guy, but I want to check it out for sure.
I'll play one of the old ones before I start that one. What interested me about it, it looks a little bit different than other katana deflecting games, is that he actually seems to be deflecting like in a literal. He's redirecting the attacks in a weird way. Like when the enemy attacks and he deflects it, he looks like he's pushing them in that direction after the deflect. So it's like very cool looking. It's the most deflecty deflect I've seen.
It's that Capcom animation.
Mm-hmm.
They got some of the best animation in the business.
Absolutely.
So these next ones is like stuff that I'm more curious about than like super hyped. But Mortal Shell 2. Did you ever play the original one?
Yes, to my great displeasure. Didn't like it.
You didn't like it.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not that I didn't like it. I just didn't think it was fantastic. I was like, yeah, sure. I played it. It was okay. I didn't think it was anything too special. So Mortal Shell 2, I'm kind of like curious. Code Vein 2, pretty much same thing.
Same thing.
I played the first one, but for some reason people hated it in my channel.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, yeah, fuck Anime Souls. We hate this. And it was like, damn. Like it bombed super hard in my channel. It sucked because I was super excited to play it. And so I wasn't able to keep playing it because YouTube algorithm and all that. But yeah.
A lot of people dislike anything to do with like an anime aesthetic, especially like I'm assuming your demographic has to be older. Even my demographic is older when I'm looking at my YouTube analytics. So I hesitate to play.
But it's like I played what was the name of that game? Grand Blue Fantasy Relink.
And they like
people
that?
loved it. Yeah, it's super anime. So I don't understand. There was just something about Code Vein that people were upset about. And I even got to interview the director and stuff. That's actually when I met Cowboy. Was
Wow.
when I interviewed the director for the original Code Vein. And I thought the game was good. So I was surprised that people were mad about it. I'm probably going to replay it off stream before Code Vein 2 comes out because I did like it. It's the perfect opportunity to kind of like replay that. So yeah. So the next one is just one that I'm super curious what is going on. Like I actually expect this game to be trash because the people working on it. The game is called Beast of Reincarnation.
Is that the hang on? Is that the Pokemon Company game?
Yes, it's the Game Freak one. I don't know, man. Like I'll check it out, but it's like I don't expect much from Game Freak. I expect them to take every shortcut that they can, produce the minimum viable product because that's what they always do with Pokemon games. It's just like
I'm more curious than anything else because I don't play Pokemon
exactly
games, but I'm just like it's like the fact that they're making it by itself is like interesting enough for me to keep my eye out on it.
Yeah, so that's another one. And then this was probably either the second or third because like I think the most interesting games, the ones that captured me the most was Onimusha, Pragmata, and then this next one is another one that captured me on that level, which is Clockwork Revolution.
Oh,
you get
that
your
was
filthy
good.
pickers off me.
That one was good. That was a great. I actually during that presentation, a lot of people in my chat were unhappy for like the first half of it because they're just. I have a cynical asshole chat. I swear to God, like they're worse than I am. They're like 10 times worse than me.
They take after you.
No, I take after they're infecting me. It's the other way around.
They're making you worse?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I don't believe that.
But I was excited. I liked it. I liked it the whole way through. I was real. I think it won some people over by the end, but it was a very charismatic trailer. Very in creative looking. I'm gonna get that.
Yeah, it's 100% one of the best things in the show. So like I was saying, to me, it's Onimusha, Pragmata, this. Those are like the big standouts of the show. And yeah, that one, it just looks amazing. Like I like everything that I see. And I didn't even know that it was going to have that more RPG vibe to it. The very first time I saw it, I thought it was going to be kind of like a, first person shooter type of deal. So because they've shown this game before. And when they showed it the first time, I was like, oh, that looks interesting. But this time I was like, oh no, that looks really good. I'm really interested. I didn't know it was going to have like RPG mechanics, stuff like that. So that'll be cool. But yeah.
For me,
then there's another one that's like a horror game where they kick a baby in the end. I just like the the ill one. I just liked it because I thought it was funny because at the end there's like this baby that comes out, like this undead
Oh yeah,
zombie,
yeah, I remember it.
disgusting, grotesque looking baby, and he's just like they have that thing with the camera like right up in his face. The baby's like, and then they switch cameras, and the character just kicks the baby over a couple of bottles. I was like, what the? That's so unhinged. I love that. Uh, but yeah, those are kind of like my picks. Did I miss anything that you?
Yes, there's only
Okay,
there were
tell
only
me.
two there were only two games that like really caught my attention, and they're what I like to call 511 simulators. So the first one is Grounded, and it's where you're playing as four teens that get shrunk. It's Grounded
I know
2.
Grounded.
Okay,
Yeah.
have you played Grounded? Do you know anything about Grounded?
No.
Okay,
I mean I know about the game. I have never played it because I'm not into
survival
the
crafting.
fantasy. It's not survival. I'm into survival and crafting. I'm not into the fantasy of being a child
I
that
see.
got shrunk down having to fight ants.
Okay, I
It's
am.
not appealing to me.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's like my bread. That's why I like to call them 511. Now you get to see things from my perspective, the 511 perspective. Everything looks. But the Grounded 2 thing, I think it's gonna be a big deal. I think it's gonna explode because the first Grounded got like 25 million players. It's not sales because it was on Game Pass, but that's a
Yeah.
sizable number.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's exactly the kind of thing that I like to play. It you should get shrunk down, you fight bugs, you craft arm. It's a lot like Monster Hunter, honestly. It has a lot of Monster Hunter like elements where a certain amount of preparation, especially if you're playing in the hard mode, it can be challenging. It's a pretty tough game. You have to prepare to fight the bug, and then you hunt it down. If you're playing with co-op, you hunt them down together, and then you craft armor out of that thing. That armor has perks and set bonuses based on how many pieces that you're wearing. You can mix and match to make builds, and these builds affect different stuff like your ranged attack, your melee attack, or the type of weapon that you're using. It's surprisingly similar to Monster Hunter in these ways, and the gameplay is not what a lot of people expect. In the original Grounded, it's a Sekiro like because it has a Sekiro deflect, and you're looking at the bugs patterns as they attack you, and you have to deflect a lot of them, or at least it's optimal to deflect a lot of them. It's super cool. I'm that's I think what I'm going to be focusing on because it's coming out early access in July.
Oh, next month?
Yeah, early access next month.
Interesting. I'd imagine you'd be into Enshrouded then as well. We've probably talked about this before.
Enshrouded? I don't know if I know what that is. Let me look it up.
Really?
Is it
I think we've talked about it before. Maybe I'm confusing it. But yeah, Enshrouded was like a really fun survival game that I played a couple of months back. I think it was last year at some point.
never heard of it?
Interesting. If you like survival games and you got nothing going on right now, you
Uh-huh.
should definitely check out Enshrouded.
Okay,
It's really fun.
I'll put it on the old wish list.
Yeah.
The other game that
But yeah, so you got
that I
the
thought
other
was
one.
cool was Infinitesimal, which is another game where you're small
It's
in a
the same
giant.
thing.
It's the
They
same thing.
shrink you,
Yeah,
right?
I don't know. I don't think this is a survival game though. I don't know what this is because you look like a small alien thing that landed on the planet. And you use high tech and you use guns, and there are bugs, but there are also like tiny robots that you're fighting. I'm not sure what's going on with that one, but it's basically the same thing. I'm just very into that aesthetic. I don't know if you've ever played Chibi Robo or heard about Chibi Robo, but anything where you're small and you
I've
look,
seen you play Chibi Robo, yeah.
it was big surroundings. It makes mundane things look pretty nice. So it's like my favorite vibe.
Oh yeah, I remember this trailer. It's got like a spaceship thing, but it's super tiny,
Hmm.
and you're going through like this hyper realist. I bet Honey I Shrunk the Kids was one of your favorite movies.
I've seen it like 50 times.
Okay,
I don't even
things are
think it's
making a lot more sense.
I don't even think it's a very good movie, honestly. I just like the vibe. Really, it's all vibes based with this. And in Grounded 2, I'm going to be able to recreate the scene because now you can ride ants in the second Grounded game. So I'm going to be able to tame an ant, ride it, fight a scorpion on it, have my ant die, and mourn its loss. It's going to be peak. I'm going to recreate the whole thing.
I think it's really funny because everything that you are saying about Grounded from a gameplay perspective sounds super appealing. But then I look at the screen and I'm
Mhm.
just like, I don't like it. I don't like what I'm looking at. I don't
Is
like that art style. I don't like that vibe. I don't know.
is it the
You
kids?
know,
Is it the kids that
yeah, it throws me off. Like the fact that you're playing as a child in this scenario. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it.
so
I want to be a dwarf. Can I be a dwarf, like a
no.
big burly dwarf?
Nope.
No,
You're
that would
one of
fix it for
four
me.
set kids, and they have. You probably would get annoyed by them if you don't like
Wait,
it.
it's set. You can't even make your
It's
own.
not a character creation. They have names and personalities, and they talk to each other. And depending on who's in
Oh,
it,
that's even worse.
they'll have like chatter that they'll say to each other. So one of them's like a nerd, and one of them's like a sports girl. And the other
Yeah,
one's like
see,
a
I don't like
poet.
children.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
like them. It really gets in the way of being a parent as well. It's a problem. Yeah.
yep. You might enjoy parts of it. There it doesn't all have this like cutesy adventurous feel to it. It's pretty brutal. Like it's a tough survival game if you and the enemies can be very dangerous. At night you have wandering wolf spiders that stalk the darkness, and there's like not much music to go around to so you're just wandering around at night with the ominous sounds in the background, and you hear like and I'm like, what the fuck? Where's that coming from? And you run the opposite fucking direction because you can't kill that until much later in the game, for a good long while.
Yeah. There was something else that was announced that we haven't talked about yet, because it was also shadow drop there, which is Lies of P Overture, which is what I've been doing over the last couple of days, getting completely mauled and decimated in that game.
I have not gotten it, but I'm happy to hear your thoughts on it because I need some convincing that now is the right time to play it.
I mean, did you like the original
I
one?
loved it. Favorite
Oh,
Souls
you're
like.
gonna love this. Like it's easy. You're gonna love it then. You're gonna absolutely love it. If you weren't even like me, because I think that my case is it's strange because for whatever reason the combat never really fully clicked with me.
Hmm.
And I don't know if it's because the parry window is too tight or what the deal is, or if I'm just getting old or what, but it's like I struggled with it like a lot. And I do mean a lot. Like I don't know if I'm gonna be able to kill this thing a lot
Yeah.
with the first one. And I think that after doing this DLC, I realized what was the issue because I did the DLC, and in the last stream that I did of the Lies of the Overture, killed the final boss. I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but I killed the final boss, and I was like, I don't know if I'm playing the next game because they're doing Dorothy next or whatever, right? They're
Okay.
doing something with Dorothy, and at the end of the stream, I was like, I don't think I'm playing their next game because you know how in Souls games and Souls likes you have the whole thing that Miyazaki says that is the objective is not for you to feel frustrated. The objective is for you to overcome what is seemingly an impossible obstacle and then feel the exhilaration as a reward.
Hmm.
And in most of the times in Lies of P, what I feel is relief. Very rarely do I feel like, oh yeah, I've beaten it. I'm like, oh thank God that's over. I never want to do that shit again. God damn. Oh my God. And so it went like that with the first Lies of P. And then eventually when I finished the game, I kept playing it because I wanted to experiment with advanced builds and selecting the actual element that stuff is weak to. So like fire for carcasses, acids for humans, and shock for puppets, I think was the way that it was.
Uh-huh.
And I was experimenting with that and doing like advanced builds and just like playing around. And it's almost like I can't believe this combat still hasn't clicked. It went all the way to platinuming the game out of being mad. I'm like, I'm mad at this game and I'm gonna platinum it. And I platinumed it. I went all the way to like New Game +4 because I made a bunch of mistakes in the runs that I was doing. And I unlocked everything and I solved the different stories. And that's the thing. I love everything else about the game. So like the setting I think is phenomenal. The art style I think is fantastic. The visuals I think are awesome. The animations are really good. Except for the dodge. Dodge fucking blows in that game. And people always tell me, no, Dodge is good. No, Dodge fucking blows in Lies of P. You're never going to convince me otherwise. The Dodge in that game blows. But then it's like I still feel this way. But in that last boss fight, The boss does something like, all bosses in Lies of P do crazy shit, right? And part of it, I survived by panic rolling. I'm not gonna lie, on the kill, I survived by panic rolling.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think the dodge fucking blows, okay? I think it sucks. I hate it. But yeah, so I go into the go ahead.
Did it click for you then? Finally, now that you've beaten the no, still no. Okay.
No, like it just it still feels more frustrating than satisfying. And then I don't know what it is about it. Like, because usually in the Souls, like I can get into it, I can figure it out, and I can do the thing. But Lies of P to me still feels more frustrating than satisfying. It's really weird. But I'm still going to play the next one. I will. I'm just not sure if I'm going to stream it, because that is one of the things that because I realized when I was like looking at my older videos, because I did an opinion piece on Lies of P Overture to kind of like close off and actually get my opinion out there rather than like what I say as the adrenaline is coming down after beating the final boss, which might not be the most eloquent thing ever. And as I was preparing for that video, I went back and I looked at some of my other content for the original Lies of P and even the content for Overture. And it's like, I'm definitely having fun in a lot of these moments, but it seems like I had more fun when I wasn't streaming it than when I was streaming it. Because when you're streaming it, there's also the, the pressure and all of that stuff. And I don't know, it's just I get upset, and I almost think that it becomes bad content because I got to the final boss and I'm just like quiet the whole time, because it's not even because I'm upset. I mean, I'm frustrated, yes, but it's not even because I'm mad. It's just like, no, I need to shut the fuck up because I need to focus, because this game requires that level of focus out of me, and I can't be interacting with chat in between attempts because I'm not thinking about what's happening in chat. I'm thinking about what the pattern that I missed, what can I do to fix that? I'm thinking about the next attempt and the attempt after that and the one after that. Then the thing is, when because I'm a parent, I don't get to just like, oh, I'm going to extend this stream for another hour because we're struggling. So there's an added pressure of like, no, I need to beat this boss in the next hour or I'm fucked. Or tomorrow I'm coming back here and doing like a 1 hour stream of just me beating the boss.
Right.
And it's very frustrating because then you end up in that mind space that you're getting frustrated for like 1,000 different reasons that maybe aren't even related to the game. That's the worst part. But some of them are for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's a lot of stuff bumping around in there. But you were going to ask me something. Sorry.
Yeah. Is that still the case in the DLC? Because I know that the base game had a lot of changes done to it.
Yeah, they nerfed a lot of the bosses in the base game, and it's actually funny because I saw Mike playing the game this morning. Preach. I don't know if you know who that is. He recently played through Monster Hunter World.
No, I don't know him.
It's okay. But so he's playing through it for the first time, and he just beats the parade like the first one. He just fucking pounded him into the dirt like it was nothing, like it was a random like puppet mob. And I was just like, what the fuck? I didn't remember that they had nerfed it that bad. Like he just pounded it like it was nothing, like straight up murdered that clown. I was like, damn. Okay. But yeah, it's with the DLC, right? It's very much the same feeling.
Right. Okay.
Except there are also some things that are more mechanical, but I don't want to get into details because if you're going to be playing it later, some of this you might eventually consider a spoiler. But let's just say on the very first boss, camera issues.
Okay.
Big camera issues.
Okay.
At least for me. But anyways, like I was saying, I was thinking about what is the thing about these boss fights that frustrates me so much. And it's, when you're playing Elden Ring and you're fighting against the boss, right? And let's say you're feeling overwhelmed against that boss. You can kind of like back away a little bit or block or do something and gain a little bit of space and some breathing room. And then you can just like look at the boss for a little bit and be like, okay, he did that. Then he did that thing. Then, okay. And then you can kind of go back in. You can never do that in Lies of P. There's never a chance for you to do that. Your breathing room is after the boss murders you.
Yeah.
That's your, it's like, okay, now you can think about what happened. I don't know, because I was thinking about something and then you did 50 other different things and murdered me. And I don't even remember what was the first thing that I was thinking about at the start, right? And that's the thing. It's just like overwhelming aggression. And in this DLC, I feel like it's just doubling down and tripling down on that. If it's like if you thought that the bosses in the base game were overwhelming, these are even worse. They're
Okay.
even more overwhelming and more relentless and longer combo strings, more of that. And
Yeah.
that is frustrating. But at
I
the same time, do you care about? Have you seen the trailer for Overture?
I have not seen the trailer.
How did you see the shows and not see the trailer? Like they showed that.
I thought you meant a different trailer, like the original trailer that before the show. Is that the only trailer that you're talking about?
No, I was talking about the trailer at the show.
Okay then. No, I've seen that.
You've seen that one, so you've
Yeah.
seen the weapons.
Yeah, I saw the shotgun punchy thing. I thought that looked cool.
Yeah, and you saw that sword that's kind of like a gun
I don't remember it, but it probably.
because it's just a fucking gun blade.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I saw that.
And it's like it's not like legally they call it a different name, but it straight up is Final Fantasy VIII
Yeah.
or Final Fantasy 14. It's a fucking gunblade. It animates just like same animations that you see in Final Fantasy 14. They're like, yep, those look good. We'll take those. Thank you very much. Like straight, it's a fucking gunblade. And the gunblade from Final Fantasy VIII is one of the main reasons why I'm a Gunlance main. So that is one of the best weapons in a Souls-like ever. I
Right.
love that weapon. And I'm not even saying that because it's powerful. It's just I love the move set of that weapon. It is fantastic. I loved it. So that's the thing, right? There's a lot of things that I friggin' love about it, but then you get to the bosses, and it's like there was one boss that I liked. One in the whole DLC.
I had a similar experience to you in the base game. I played before most of the nerfs. I don't think before all of them, but before most of the nerfs. And I think I struggled at least as much as you in a lot of those places. Every boss seemed to me like a 3-hour affair. It was like, okay, I've gotten to a boss. It's time to spend another 3 hours trying to get through this thing. Every single thing felt like Promised Consort Radon. It was brutal. I was brutalized by that game. I still liked it though because I'm a masochist for that kind of thing. But no, it was
Like,
difficult.
listen, you need to understand that when I was in the boss before the final boss of the base game,
Mm-hmm.
Cowboy was watching the stream and he called me on Discord to kind of like give me a pep talk because I was like, fuck this game. God, I fucking hate this. I hate it so bad. And Cowboy's like, no, you got this, bro. You got this. It's so funny. But yeah, like as a matter of fact, it's funny because when I was in the final boss for the DLC, at one point I get a call from my wife, and somebody in chat actually mentioned, "Oh, fighting cowboys coming, guys. Don't worry about it." But yeah, it's like again, I think anybody that enjoyed Lies of P is going to absolutely love this DLC. But if you didn't gel with Lies of P, don't get the DLC because you're not gonna like it. You're gonna friggin' hate it.
It's just more of the
However,
same.
they did something, and this is something that I objectively do not like. They added multiple difficulties.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons I'm hesitant because they already nerfed
They
a bunch of
added-
stuff, and now they added easy and easier modes, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what about? Why would you do this?
And then the thing to me is also, I kind of feel like, and this is something I've mentioned multiple times, I don't think anything should get nerfed because I know that there's a lot of people that they might get 1 or 2 games that challenge them every year. So the last thing you want to do is fuck with those players' games. Like, why would you do that? Like, they get 1 or 2 games a year. Let them have their hard game, bro. Stop. Right? Not everybody has to play it. And so, but the thing is, to me, when you add those difficulty settings, they kind of become like a crutch where you can just be, hey, if you think it's too hard, just put it on easy mode. You know, just lower the difficulty.
Yeah,
And that's something that people kept telling me, but it's like I've since then watched videos of what the boss fights look like in the easier difficulties, and it's just numbers. So the bosses just deal less damage. So I saw people straight up block things and then fully regain their health in mechanics where it's like if you even attempt to block those on the normal difficulty, you're going to get completely stomped.
Yeah.
And they would just like block it and then full regain through the regen system. And I was like, what the crap, bro? So it's like, to me, lowering the difficulty is basically you no longer have to engage with the mechanics. You can just like bypass a lot of these mechanics because they just, you don't have to learn them anymore. And it's like, well, that kind of defeats the purpose of a boss fight if you no longer have to learn the mechanics.
Yeah, I agree.
But that's my elitist, gatekeepist attitude or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get those anyway, so whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Do we have anything else to discuss? Because I'm starting to get hungry. I need some food. What? Anything?
I mean,
any order of business?
Your show. You're the boss.
I don't feel like the boss. Well, no, I'm good if you're fine.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, that's a good place to end it then. This has been the Yggdrasil podcast. Thank you everyone for coming, especially Rory.
Bye.